Welcome back to one of the most vibrant cities on Earth, now home to the best players Siege has to offer. I am, of course, talking about Sao Paulo and the Six Invitational. It's SI, baby. Where else would you want to be than right here with us? Look at these shots of Sao Paulo. Honestly, I've been here once before, and I cannot get enough of it. My name's Ian Chambers, alongside the brains and brawn of Siege, Jesse and Laxing. Lax's arms can barely fit into his sleeves, and Jesse's brain barely fits in his head. Guys, I am so excited to have you both here. I've never been on a desk with you before, so it's an honor.
Well, that's not entirely true. We did the post-game show in Atlanta.
That's
true. We got a little bit of experience. We had a little connection right there.
It was beautiful. What about us? This is new.
I think so. I mean, we spent enough time together throughout these events that I basically feel like we've done desks. But no, I think officially, it's our first time.
Yeah, it's nice. All right, so SSG versus DarkZero will be our last matchup, best of 3 here on the Airstream. And it's one that we're really looking forward to because 2 very successful teams ready to go at it, Jesse.
It certainly is. I mean, both these squads, DarkZero and Spacestation, 2 of the best teams North America has to offer, battling out now here inside of Brazil. DarkZero, we just saw earlier today, they won their matchup, of course, coming in against Team Liquid. Pretty dominating matchup, if we can say that as well. And then for Spacestation Gaming, first place in their group, they're looking very good coming into these playoffs for their first game.
Well, let's take a look at the history between these 2 rivals when it comes to this season. Jesse, talk us through the tale.
Yeah, so these two teams have played each other 4 times so far. Of course, once in Stage 1, once in Stage 2. That's going to be the Kafe and the Oregon that you see top of the bottom. Once during the offseason as well, during the breaking point. As you can see, DarkZero historically have been the better team. 7-0 on Kafe, 7-1 Bank, 7-3 Skyscraper. The most recent game, however, Spacestation did get their revenge. 8-7, that was the Stage 2 matchup on Oregon. Spacestation, despite losing the overall record on the season, do have the last laugh. So this will be a bit of a chance for them to continue to rewrite that history, to continue to get that revenge against DarkZero, or maybe for DZ to set the record straight.
Yeah, I mean, Lax, that's nice. The numbers are great, but it's a different story when you're at an international event, right?
100%. And again, both these teams are performing really well. I mean, again, DZ just came off a hot 2-0 versus Liquid and a close first map and then a dominant second map. And truthfully, I think DZ have found their system. They found what they need to do and to get the attacks, get the defense going.
Yeah.
Aside for Spacestation now, this will be a testament to them. Obviously, they were able to sit pretty. They get to wait for the team that was going to be going up against them. Unfortunately, they have to go against their NA brethren. But again, it's not like it's brand new. It's a familiar face. They know the idiosyncrasies of each other. So, I mean, I just think it's going to be an overall just one giant slugfest of 2 NA teams just battling out.
You're getting me excited. Let's take a look at this SSG roster. I mean, they've finished first in their group. Not really the favorites to finish in pole position. I think that's safe to say. And they haven't dropped a single map since day 1, Jesse.
Exactly. I mean, they have been on a streak, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 to finish that out. That's why they're right here. Their 1 loss coming against Wolves on the very first day, as you mentioned. I think broadly, this team has been feeling very confident, very, very aggressive in the server at times. They are not afraid to swing out, to take a lot of those gunfights, disrupt people a little bit. And I think in this meta, that's what you got to do. You know, you've got to get into your opponent's heads. You've got to take action to them. And so for Spacestation Gaming, I think their playstyle's looking really good in this meta. I think their coordination and team play has been solid for the group stage so far. And they're going to be an extremely formidable opponent against any team they go up against throughout these playoffs.
Let's talk about man like J90, shall we?
Yeah,
he's been brilliantly consistent.
No, J90 is an animal. I mean, if you even look back through the regular stage, you look through in Atlanta, he has put up one hell of a performance. He is consistent literally across the board in what he does. I mean, right now he is currently the 3rd highest rated in KD. He is the 5th highest rated player coming into this. That may have changed given some of the games have ended. I didn't update that, but still, nonetheless, I mean, J90 is a phenomenal player. I've seen J90 from the start of his career and to where he's at now. The best thing you can see in the improvement from him is the straight consistency of the numbers and the performance that he is constantly putting out for SSG.
Putting up numbers and having consistency is the perfect formula for a knockout style tournament. That is what you want as part of your team. On the flip side, you got NJR, Jesse.
Yes, I mean, these 2 players I thought were perfect to compare to one another because they're both the players that can be very consistent, that'll always be that rock, and they've both been playing a lot of really solid anchor setups throughout both their teams. They play it kind of differently. NJR is a very classic. He's going to play those hard anchor roles where he's sitting in the basement. He doesn't want to be the first one fighting people when they come come on in. He'll let their teammates take some of those fights, then swing on out, locking down a bomb site on those really defensive operators. And then you take a look at J90, also often playing more towards the bomb site. However, he likes to play a little bit more flexible, a little bit more Wamai, a little bit more Warden coming through so that he can move around a bit more, trade his teammates, and play really well with the rest of the squad. So for these two players late in the round, I think they're going to be matching up a little bit more often than some of the other guys in the server. And I'm very excited to see who comes out on top.
I can't get enough of being in the same room as these guys. This is my first time today, so I'm just really soaking up the energy here, and it's making me feel a bit buzzing as well.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at their opponents in DarkZero. Now, they're already cooked today with a convincing win over Liquid. They're looking formidable.
Yeah, I mean, DZ, again, I said this at the start. I think they found the formula that they need in order to get these attacks down, these defenses down. I mean, the game against Liquid with the Ying from Pamba, I mean, to me, this feels like old DZ in terms of meta, in terms of playstyle. If they can constrict you in the site, they can push you into corners, you are going to have a hard time. And we're seeing that with these attacks and what they're doing. They're really constricting power positions, then taking from the power position and moving into the site and just converging and collapsing and running away with these rounds.
Yeah, DarkZero have been masters of the execute. We saw that earlier today against Team Liquid, the way they really oppress you with these very, very powerful operators, guys like Ying, guys like Grim, these operators to come through, Capitao, Zofia, whatever it might be, they will really make it difficult for you to exist inside of a room. And I think the problem that they may come up against here today against Spacestation Gaming that maybe Team Liquid didn't test them on as much is what happens when it's not somebody sitting in a room, it's somebody running around a map. We saw that a little bit on Nighthaven Labs and they shut it down quite well, but that was kind of already at the point where Team Liquid were crumbling, they were falling apart in that series. So I'm very excited to see if that playstyle from Team Liquid can stand up against Spacestation Gaming because it's going to be another and unique challenge.
They love an explosive push, don't they, Lex?
Yeah, I mean, they sure do, and that's where I can see SSG really bringing it to them because SSG isn't the old SSG for some people, maybe brand new coming in and thinking it's the SSG from way back then. No, this is a completely refaced, revamped SSG that gets in your face, isn't scared to take a gunfight. I mean, we saw Forrest right there. We saw J90. Forrest being a Harbinger player, he just instantly runs in and takes gunfights like it's nothing.
Do you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about Bolo, right?
Yeah.
So you could have argued on paper, like it was a slight risk because he's been out of action for a year despite his credentials, despite his big name. But we've seen today, starting to put his foot on the gas a bit more.
100%. I mean, people have talked a lot about it. Bolo hasn't had the most killer stats throughout the group stage, and that's okay. DarkZero has been playing well as a whole. They don't need every single player to be popping off every single game, but I think that last game against Team Liquid was really where we saw Bolo start to shine, really start to come into his own. You know, he's playing a lot of these roles where he does have to kind of support the rest of the squad, playing some of these more flank watch operators, some of these more global operators to support the rest of the team, but I thought we really started to see him heat up, and in these pushes, he's been a very key part of it. We had him on for the interview, and he talked about how everybody has to play their roles when they're going for these extremely well thought out and kind of chaotic sometimes pushes, but he's done that very well for DarkZero. I think he really started to hit the floor running against Team Liquid, and if we see more of that today, Spacestation might be in trouble.
All right, we can hit the floor running right now as well with our map vetoes. This is for the last time today on the A stream where we get to go through this. Oregon, Labs, Consulate, and Skyscraper all banned out. Let's get to the picks, Lax.
Okay, so off the bat, I'm skipping Kafe. I'm going to Boarded. This is actually interesting because DZ has yet to play this here at SI, which then makes me question that they're bringing something completely brand new to the table here.
Yeah, I mean, DarkZero's bans, they do make sense. I think both Oregon and Consulate were going to be strong picks for Spacestation, but I agree, like, seeing the border come out, pretty shocking. It's very good for SSG. You got to assume DarkZero has something prepped for that. We'll touch on Kafe briefly because that is the one we're going to first. For DarkZero, they picked this map, 6-1 record this season, with their only loss coming back in Copenhagen against NIP, a team who they got revenge on here at the R6 Invitational. They beat them 7-4 on Kafe when they met in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the... Kafe specifically a map, especially with a team like SSG, I do feel with the aggressiveness that DZ has yet to face, I think this is going to be a struggle for the first map for DZ. But again, if they can just wait for SSG to make these aggressive plays and shut that down, we can see that maybe fall 10 towards DZ's favor.
Yeah, and I think that, like, obviously DarkZero will be favored as their own map pick, but I don't want to give the wrong impression. Spacestation are comfy here too.
Absolutely.
6 plays through all of Stage 2, all of which were either wins or at least close losses. They're 1 for 2 at this R6 Invitational, beating FaZe Clan, but losing to Wolves, both overtime games.
All right, it is time now to get into map 1 of this one. Emmy and Haps are standing by, ready to call this one. Actually, I've just been told that we might have a special guest alongside them.
That we do. For the first Strikecast, all of the other teams, NA teams have mascots. we as talent don't have a mascot, so we've actually been able to borrow monkeyness.
Yeah, so I believe it was the intern of the player managers.
Yeah.
Currently learning.
This is a referee.
Branching out as well.
Do you mind if I'm just going to quickly take off their headset?
Yes, of course,
for a
of course.
second. I'm not asking you, I'm asking them.
No, I'm just making sure that no one gets hurt.
Look at that.
Player manager.
They're going to sit there, they're going to help us cast and come up with rules. No, because we have what is a very heated showdown between two powerhouse sort of teams here where you've got a lot of history.
Yeah.
And there's something about inter-regional matches at this situation where SSG, let's be honest, they're playing very, very well. That's the name, monkeyness. They've been playing very, very well. They've been able to sort of set themselves apart. But then, in the same action and in the same breath, DarkZero, they've been playing well enough to surprise themselves. Obviously, we've got some great NA talent.
Yeah.
I've been chatting with them and ex-players as well and talking to Fox just before this, and he sort of thinks DarkZero, he doesn't believe they are at the position that they are knowingly. He thinks they've sort of gotten here and they're like, great, we're here, but doing better than they think.
I mean, the thing is, you cannot really use any of the old DarkZero stuff because they have changed up the lineup, of course. And I mean, surely it's been said before, you know, when the group stages were around, but Bolo being back, Nate being brought over from the Europe region as well. And we've already seen like some slight shifts coming through. What I saw from the DarkZero fans, most importantly, is the fact that they no longer have all these overtime games all the time. Like, they're like, it's good for our hearts that we do not need to go to 15 rounds to find out if we win or not.
It's good for their fans.
It's good for their fans. It's good for everything.
Do you know what I want from this Hapagon?
You want a full 3 maps, 45 rounds to decide who's going to be winning it, plus a kill record or 2 being broken.
I mean, that would be nice. We've already had that today. It's very late. I think it's the latest we've had any of our games start throughout this whole tournament, based on how heated the day has been. But what I want is both teams bring in a game. I want this to get fierce. I want it to get a bit ferocious. I want to see them step it up, because I know I sort of said this. You have teams developing themselves throughout a major. You have them developing themselves throughout the Invitational. They set new paces. And then you sort of come across an old familiar foe, and it's like, sometimes it'll shake you. Sometimes it'll BDS to wolves you. Sometimes you find something extra because there's nobody you would rather beat more to the title than people that you'll probably see back at home.
I mean, that's definitely it. Like, to be the best in your region, you just need to make it the furthest out of everybody in your region, and all beating them on an important matchup like this, definitely a good way to show your newfound potential supremacy over the opposing team to come through. Now, as we take a look at the bans that just happened, of course, Azami gone. I think Azami is a very powerful operator, especially on the top floor, and the service as well. Valkyrie being gone, lots of place to hide those cameras, so not having to worry about that. Does, of course, mean that Fenrir is going to be open. Going to be seeing a lot of that, I think, because Kafe, lots of close angles that you will have to watch, 2 main staircases to go down on. Usually, you know, a good place to take some of these fights, and any advantage is always, well, a nice addition to those kind of fights.
Monkeyness has needed to do some refereeing business. They've just popped to the side for now.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you won't hear them cast yet. However, tri-casts are coming. Monkeyness will be there. Oh, a piece. As every game starts, and as you said, it's going to be something that builds on it. I love the mirror extensions that we've had throughout this tournament. There was a bit of a worry we wouldn't see a huge amount of mirror because of the changes recently, where if you're unfamiliar, the destructibility from the front, so say from Ashe or Zoph, will crack. It won't break it through, but it means that these long angles, if an Ashe can get a sneaky sort of play through, suddenly you can't swing lumber the same way. This is a classic hold over the top. Usually it's not done for the depths of a mining cover, but I really do love the adaptation. Fultz looking for a fight out through the skylight. This is actually one of the things where, and I keep putting him on the spot, where Fox A said he thinks SSG will probably have a good chance with this. DarkZero haven't played against many aggressive teams. And there's that aggression. Forrest gets one, Bolo gets J9O. Right back with Ashton finding Bolo. And look at this trade, it doesn't stop. Fultz finds Canadian. The entrance has turned into a very brisk exit off of Dostoevsky. And now a minute 20 for NJR and Pamba to try and peel some of these bodies back on the second story.
It's a very explosive start that we've had so far. And as Pamba gets the flashbang out, he actually seems to just run by. Ashen being picked up there, probably completely blind as he was doing so as well. But it is going to be a 2-3, so there's a good opportunity to bring back this round into equal numbers here to give DarkZero an opportunity to still fight back into this round, as he was a 4v2 just now.
A quick break of the buck across the barricades. They're just trying to force the players out of position at this point and see if they can, well, catch them at mistaking. It's 45 seconds. There's loads of time here on the Kafe. However, it's one which does lead you to find yourself struggling to rotate. They can get control back up. You can see there's a little bit of wiggle room, maybe some pressure up Brown behind Pamba that's about to strike in just a second, holding angles and hoping they push in, but there it is, hot and cold. He is a player who can play this game. He's a player who can do this damage in this distance. Will he be able to find that at this moment? When will he go for the strike? It seems like Pamba is well aware. You're just sort of waiting for that first step, that first moment, that first mistake. Give themselves the route. They have to put their back towards Hot and Cold, who's going to go even wider, all the way up towards Red at this point. They've been able to find their way in, but at some point it's going to be a one versus everybody. There's the swing, there's the trade, there's at least a pistol double. Keep pinging, keep pinging. This is what I want. When I say I want it to be heated,
yeah, we have to. So it's in the server, but it's also outside the server. They're shouting and they're typing to one another. Now you can't see it as we're on the player cams, but yeah, they're trying to bring it on to one another. And a very explosive start, that's for sure. DarkZero, though, kind of running out of that fuel in the last couple of seconds of the round due to the fact that there were men down. Beautiful C4 from Force, by the way, as you just saw the replay there. Actually finding right one afterwards as well as a jump up on the planks, not really working out. Folds from the small angle on Cigar. It was just a very scrappy start. But SSG come out on top.
Oh, keep baiting.
Oh, pacing? What?
Baiting. Keep baiting.
Okay, baiting. Yeah, baiting is what I
thought it was pinging. I thought he was being pinged, but it was keep baiting. And then they also said in all chat, stat player smoked.
Yeah.
It's round one.
10 seconds left.
I mean, you gotta get in their head right away.
I know it's late at night. I know it's been a long day of siege. I want this to be a long series. I'm sorry, analysts. I'm sorry, Ian Chambers. I'm not sorry, really. SSG. Now, the point I was making just before, and the point that was brought up by Davide.
Yeah.
I've been told both pronunciations. I'm so sorry, Fox. I love you. Is the one time DarkZero have gone against an aggressive team was G2. They smoked. 2-0. It was a strong sort of performance from G2, one of the teams that sort of cited themselves as being able to attack here. SSG want to try and keep that pressure hot. They're a similar sort of team to the books of the analysts. So it's seeing how much they've sort of almost learnt from the synergy of playing against a team like G2 and then bringing those lessons into, they're not identical, but SSG have similarities and punished before.
From where though? Drone hole.
Drone hole.
R6 just chipping away from Hodden, his health there. Almost losing the Yokais quite early on. That would have been a painful rest of the round, especially when we're off to the plank goes down out here as the repel in came in from Amaru. Canadian gets shut down, forced him with a double kill to land it. Houghton will find Bolo as well, and it gets completely picked apart here. DarkZero only having Nafe. Well, only Nafe left. I was about to call NGR's name, but he will find the very first kill. In a 1v4, he's about to be sprayed right through the wall, though. They know exactly where he is. He cannot last. Forrest, an amazing route from him. He held off the side all by himself as he was being pushed from left and right.
What a start, what a lockdown. They had the full read on where it was coming from, the swing to get the second on the pressure on towards Dining as well. It just sort of pieces this play. There it is, catches the drone. I mean, beautifully played by Forrest. Nafe able to obviously get the one on the back to stop the flawless, but not for very long. So, if you weren't here earlier, I just heard, I do not know if you guys hear this. So for context, the two casting desks, there's about 10 feet
No, I mean, I don't know what feet are. It's like 3, 4
They're at the bottom of
meters.
your legs.
Yeah, I know, but not the measurement. I don't know what those are.
I think between the two desks, maybe about 15 feet, and at a thin wall, a very thin.
Oh, there's a gap in the wall in the back.
And there's a gap. It's like it's not really a wall. It's like a. It's like a. It's. Did you hear Tim just say we're going to overtime, Daz?
I did hear
the
it, yeah.
point there. Ace of Pyro.
It's a map 3 though. That's
A
the most
very
fun thing.
loud man. That's the name of his biography. We go down to Kitchen. We're not playing on Bar. Talking of Ace, a site that is statistically one of the worst for defenders to
Yeah.
play.
It has been 30% win rate over the event so far, whereas
Not
Kafe
good.
as a whole has about 60. So basically tells you all you need to know. Really been dragging down that statistic out there. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing it much. Maybe 1 or 2 rounds total, but nothing more than that. Opening being made. If there was any other operator than the Montaigne, that probably would have been the head of Canadian gone right now. So you can thank the stars for that shield being extended in time. Drones coming through right now, openings being made as well. Of course, you're playing around on that ground floor side, not the basement on this map. But that also does mean that you need to start worrying a little bit about the top floor and the first floor, and that's why Bolo's around. He's going to be playing around on that Jackal. He has the opportunity to use the Inox together with the drones, of course, that are driving down, just to make sure that there's no one hiding, in fact, and that there is that safe opportunity to take the top floor. Now head yourself down towards that first floor. Then you'll see some verticality open up, because this is the thing. There is a lot of the service area that you can open up vertically, which basically makes it so there's only 1 or 2 safe places where these defenders can play inside the site. If you have that all open up, it just makes your execute so much easier.
Hey, we don't quite have the same immediate pusher. It's coming through from DZ. They've been trying to get a sort of smash and grab from multi-different angles. It's something that has worked well, but as of yet, as I said, SSG's had their number. Pamba is steadily and stoically smashing his way to get the shepherded angles. But you look at the position of SSG, they've pulled themselves away. Forest is actually the only player within range of the 2 bomb sites. Everyone else is spread all the way across the ground floor with a very nice sort of catch. They're saying, look, you can have the vertical, you can have the hatch, but as soon as you come in, we are all around you. It's a bit of a retake strategy. You can go for the delay as long as possible, then you could push up the stairs and go for a retake if you're not dealt with, and then, well, you're just shooting DarkZero fish in a barrel.
And it's kind of how you have to play this. You cannot really afford to play on the side, as NJR will find the very first kill onto Fold. Great openers to Fenrir gone, so no more juggling of those codes between the FNET. Whichever one is active is going to stay active until it's destroyed now. Pings coming in on the player that's right behind the shield. How are you going to be dealing with this? There's no cover whatsoever from his teammate, so you should be able to collapse onto J90 and take him out as a result. Ashley taking damage as well, as J90 almost finding Canadian out here with the shield. There needs to be some support coming through. Canadian unshields, finds the headshot onto J90. NGR will find Hutton as well, leaving it only up to Forrest and Ashton, but 10 seconds. They need to push.
Oh, then JR gets his third. He was the one to watch, and Forrest was the only one on site, and now he's the only one on site, but he's the only one alive as well. 5 seconds, caught out. DarkZero, they cast their net, and this time they pull in the space station. But it's the first round. It's the first round they've been able to sort of get themselves into properly. It's the third pick site as well. Where they've struggled is when there's a little bit more maneuverability. As I said, the hold we saw from SSG there was sort of the most standard hold I think I could describe them as doing so far. Beautiful take on the back of the ping.
Not a double from it.
And then there's the third.
I wish I was this snappy.
I wish I was this good. You see? God.
It's like, it makes it look so easy. It's like he just walks by, gets those kills. It's the same as when you see Shaiko play, for example. He just hits the like crazy shot. I'm just like, why do you make it look so easy?
It's like, I want to be like I remember when I was in my early 20s and I could play FPS games, and then you're like, yeah, but I was never that good either. 2-1. Remember, this is DarkZero's map. You're otherwise looking at Border, which, if we talk aggression and we talk places where DarkZero might struggle, that is a very fun playground for Spacestation.
I believe back when these 2 organizations last met, actually it wasn't the last time they met, it was in stage 1 when they met. It's a 7-0 for DarkZero on this exact map. We're already way past that point as SSG have found 2 players, but of course, you know, it's been a long time. There's been plenty of time to adapt and change your map pool. Also, DarkZero changed players, so you cannot really compare the 2 of them anymore directly. It's not like one change, but it's Bolo and Nave that has been added to the lineup, so it's always a good one to keep in mind as the hatch is getting opened up. Now C4 to follow up on it. Canadian has the opportunity to play safely with the Bravo. There's a lot of utility here that could be gotten with the clutch drone. Think of the ADSs, the serial laser gates, and the magnets. All of those really playing into the, you know, what we used to know as a utility meta, where you just had to use a lot of explosives and other throwables to get through the actual site. We're seeing a little bit of a glimpse of that here with everything being deployed, and, well, DarkZero on the attack, looking to find themselves a safe way into the site. 2 minutes. Nave also on that Twitch drone doing some work, taking out some default camps, hoping to find other pieces of utility as well. But so far, no kills yet. And it's a complete opposite from what we've seen in round 1 and 2, where everything was just explosive. DarkZero really slowing it down now.
Now, I would need to double check this, but I do believe the winner of this game will make it to live. They might not make it directly to the live. I think if the numbers get run properly, they might have to do it in the lower bracket. However, there is a lot of potential here, a lot of possibility. This is one step short of being in front of thousands.
Is it already? Because we have 4 more games, like 8 more games tomorrow and then 2 the day after.
We have a lot going on in the lower bracket.
Yeah.
And as I said, I think it's just if they get through, they might get...
Because tomorrow's low. Oh, Pambazu opens up onto Fultz. It's going to be a well-earned opener, but with a minute left on the clock, there is some pressure that needs to be made, and 4 still being on the side is a real danger, a real threat out here if they want to go for the plan. There's actually pings coming in on Nave. They know exactly where he is, and the drop comes through, and there's the pre-fire for Mashton, who will find the kill onto him, and now that's the pressure on Reading basically alleviated as he gets the second one on Window. Beautiful shot to come through. J9O missing on the opportunity to catch off. I believe there's NDR just rotated through.
I mean, caught him just after they were the comparison. These 2 3-letter anagram players trying to find each other. Pamba does get the catch onto him, and Canadian certainly finds Forrest as well. Houghton is in a 2 versus 1, but both of them are a sliver of damage close to it, so it will not take much from the SMG to get the catch. Misses the tail of the first, gives a bit of the game away. 15 seconds there, rolling the blinds and the flashes. That one catches him. He tries to pre-fire through it. He knows his number is up. Oh! Almost found a little pocket of safety there, but DarkZero, they just push either side of him, get the end of it. A rebuild from things going wrong to 2.
I don't know what they say.
They said, I think...
It's all your fault! It's all your fault!
I might need to ask Monkiness if... I might need to ask Monkiness if that's okay.
I think it is. Unless one of his...
Hey, look, there's Bolo.
Just a shoulder now.
There he is. All right, we are still going. I think they were saying... It's all your fault.
Yeah, I've heard that part.
I think they were saying he was costing. I don't know who they were saying was costing. We'll leave that to you guys at home.
Yeah, let's open up a Twitch poll. Who was costing?
Who was costing? the most toxic Twitch pool we could possibly do. Who was costing?
Right. Pixel being prepared, as you see right there. ADS being placed, bench being taken out. It's always been a bit of a stronghold position, but especially in the previous meta, where Piano was always the first and early entry point. Yep. Usually have someone playing around in the bathroom, around Pixel Corner, always challenging, always keeping people guessing. None is currently being occupied by any of the players from SSG, but they've made themselves the opportunity to actually play it if there is pressure coming in from that side. But, you know, looking at them right now, might not really be the case.
Nath, one of statistically the best players in the whole tournament. So they're probably hoping that he can make a connection, but a connection might be made here on this window. Where are they? They can see some of the broken boards. They're going to wait for some of the audio. Look at that, just a sort of statement there of saying, I know you're there, and he's like, yeah, you do. No. Oh! Pamba Lamau!
That was, you must have been thinking, like, what's going on? Why are you trying to reinforce that?
That was a mistake.
Yeah, we could call that a small mistake, indeed. Look at Solace, though. Look at all that utility.
I'm hoping that wasn't because of Solace saying they're on drone.
Yeah.
And not knowing Pamba was watching it from distance. I mean, that's probably why it happened. You wouldn't just go for that. You can never just trust. As you can tell.
It might have been like just far enough in the round where we can afford to close this off and then die on the back of it, sadly. 2-2 opening kill goes to DarkZero as we are in bar, which is already struggling to find scores from the top rope. Drops it down.
Out of Torre.
Finds Panda.
And there's Nafe! Really shouldn't have won that engagement there against Fault. A little bit of a spray back and forth. Forrest just retreats down white. Nice up, the next push in the rotate, but the E1D will stop them dead. However, they have the ping. They try and go for the fight. It does look like it. 2 DZ players are going for the rotate here. They've obviously got the Jackal that's just going to sort of say, hello, man. How you doing? Get out of here. It's our round. 4-2-2. They have a minute. Ashen and Houghton now have to see if they can try and hold on. This approach from DZ sort of has been the most intense, the most dedicated to rooting in to these engagements. The questions are how are they going to deal against an aggressive team, and so far the answer is kind of aggressively.
Well, it isn't the aggression that we saw in round 1 and 2 where they just went in. It's more of a controlled aggression that we see from them where they, you know, they do enter the building and they are bringing some aggression to the lineup here, but they're also just working their angles, working their information properly. Ashen using those warding glasses right as the flashbang pops. Someone repelling in from the piano side of things as Houghton gets shut down from the red stairs. More flashbangs coming in. Ashen has so much time left on this glasses. Will be finding NJR, and with that, gives away his position. 8 seconds left as he will find another one, but there's a double stack up on the planks, and Nafe finding that kill when it matters most. And with that, DarkZero finding themselves 3-2. A little bit of a teabag. This must be Canadian ordering them to go for the teabag.
Okay, so there was a great documentary done about Atlanta, about the team's rise and fall. Canadian was one of the people that was followed on it. It's on the R6 Esports YouTube channel, so check it out. I'd recommend it. Amazingly, their interviews with him, he's like in the gym, like pumping iron. And there is a question, I wonder if he asked for that. If they were like, can we do a documentary? He's like, yeah, but I want to look ripped. His drive on the vibes, on sort of improving on that level, he does it to, you know, shake the opponents, but it keeps his team's energy massively high. It keeps them sort of heads in the game, engaged. It's very rare to look at DarkZero and not see them with smiles on their face, even in the longest days, and this is one of them. Because remember, they are here because they won the 2-0 earlier on. They won it very well against Liquid.
Yeah, it was a real blowout against them there, sending one of the Brazilian teams to the lower bracket. And for a while, it seemed like we might have had like 3 teams go out there, but you know,
how many hours ago was that?
That was 2.5 hours ago, something like that.
It's
3.
It's been very long series. Between these series, there's always the argument of, is it better to sort of play, get warmed up, and then go into the heavier game, or sit and wait? Well, they sort of had the worst of both worlds. They played, then they had a long wait. I'm sure you could recuperate, but you guys know what it's like when you have a nap in the middle of a day. You're even more tired.
Depends on how long the nap is.
You know how long a day is for Canadian at his age?
Pamba opens up. That's the 4th entry kill now for DarkZero in a row. So they've definitely been able to translate every single one of them so far into a round win. As we see right here.
Oh, this is new.
Watching the Solace walk by. And that's going to be giving you a lot of opportunity to just use your utility, just use your drones, because the Solace no longer going to be hunting them down.
Trying to find the next pick here, and you sort of want a bit of importance on this round from the side of SSG. Obviously, it's DZ's map. They're very good at it. They've been very good at it against opponents like SSG before. But if they start getting themselves into a bit of a burn, if they start getting their energy up before border, where, as I said, SSG, they should have a really good showing on it. I love the plays that they do, no fish to catch. on that C4. The plays that they do with quick sort of motions with that blitz. Huge take though from Ashton. Nafe gets one right back. They know exactly where Ashton's stuck. Can he win the fight? He just misses the first. Bolo gets the shakeout. And once again, with about 1:10 left, a 4 versus 2.
Oh, just saw him go by there. J90 from the rappel. He's holding off on the top of white stairs now. He's expecting someone to still be out on that rappel. Of course, not the case. As Pamba starting to open up on the top floor, you see Bolo do the exact same thing, using the boogies to basically open up the entirety of Piano, which is really making sure that the rotation point between the two sides can no longer be freely used without really being afraid of being shot from up above. We are, of course, playing in Mining and Dining. I think it might be the one and only rhyming site in the game.
There's your funnest fact.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
for those
call any other.
For those Roald Dahl fans out there.
Reload.
J90 with the Tubarao and a heck of a gun is just going to fire some warning shots to Forrest, can maybe make some motion silently, gets the back of one player. The second fight isn't his to win. DZ lose the first 2, but come back in force for the next 4. And NJR, I'm just going to repeat it because it's funny, calls him a stat player.
Yeah, hits him right back to it.
In response to what happened at the start of the game.
Relatively quiet now between the two teams as we go to halftime.
Takes a break, takes a moment.
We can't trash talk every round, you know.
Probably just do like a normal freeze execute, right?
All right, thank you.
A normal
freeze execute.
He believes SSG are going to do a normal freeze execute.
You know what you do, Dan? You go to the top floor so there's no freezer.
Stop pointing at your head and saying big brain. Small brain, very small brain. I'm swapping you out for monkeyness. I'm curious to see how much this plays into the big brain of Canadian. Obviously, you know, it's sort of, we took statistics on this map. We say get rid of bar, never go bar, 100% failure rate this map alone. But Kitchen as well, it's felt less popular, obviously, than the 2 mid-floor sites. It seems like whatever the meta is finding its feet in terms of attackers and defenders this game, you know, I'm curious if it's something that might get phased out slowly as well, you know?
It's actually second favorite site right now in terms of defense.
Well, then.
Mining Dining first, 70%.
FB then.
Servers Cooking, 63, and Reading Dining, 61.
Okay.
And then Bar, 30. So
Yeah, well.
it's the odd one out.
Thanks, Statman.
No problem.
This is revenge for me calling you small brain.
Yeah.
30 seconds gone. Hey, look at this default freeze take. They are living up to expectations. Bolo in a bit of a swing position on the other side of Coat Check. He's waiting to see where the push and pressure comes towards Pamba. He's playing a very aggressive position. No shield, but obviously they've got the smokes to bait and waste as much time as possible. Starts at the top. And the collapse will come slowly over the floors, just ensuring that there's not a DarkZero player, Hallow Nafe, in a position to try and strike. Now, if this has been droned, and they aren't going to re-drone it, this could be bad.
It's especially since it's a Solace as well, should be, you know, aware of these drones coming through, and Houghton already starting to open up with sending some Trek Stingers down to stop any roams from coming back up. However, there's already roamers up, and that's the issue here. Nafe, as you just mentioned, as long as he's patient, as long as he just waits, he has the opportunity to strike whenever he wants, wherever he wants. And that is going to be the huge problem here for the side.
Here we go.
They don't check it. That's a kill.
Oh, no. All right, well, there's the knife in the back, and there's suddenly this alarm bell ringing from SSG because they thought it was clear. Now it's not. All the rest of them, they're already on the mid-4, putting pressure. Do they rotate up? It seems like there is at least some of that towards the top of white. There it is, 2 players. He's going to see how long he can waste this. He's caught on the drone. He's about to be swung. A great pick back up, but look at what was wasted. A single player, sure. About 30 seconds and a confidence they know what's going on. Now, with a minute left, they still have to do the structure of their take itself. There's the Ram rolling on through. Roll in, roll in, roll in. Roll high.
The Bugi cinematic shots.
Yeah. And we find ourselves here. A little bit of, I'm not going to say panic, but keenness on knowing what... Yeah, they've got to get the job done quick, and I like that SSG are doing it quick.
It's like they turn up the YouTube video speed to 1.25 speed, and they're like, okay, we're gonna prepare everything a bit quicker. Interesting use indeed. I'm not quite sure. Oh, the track stingers, of course, to get rid of those. So they actually have the opportunity to start swinging back up, especially once the execute starts hitting. You might want to get that top floor control.
The swing round, the smokes are in, Forrest is in as well. He's going to see if he can try and find a little spot, and does. Wow! That was like diving and sort of whipping and trying to find a single safe place. He's back and forth, but there it is! Oh! Step up for the execution. J90 is serving up pain in the kitchen. Pamba, he's got to make a bit of a move, but it's a post-plant situation. Suddenly, 2 versus 3, technically with NJR on the floor. He cannot be gifted it. There's the pick back up, though. And there's the knock right back down. What a great bit of motion there from SSG.
The shouting step player now to NJ. Typing it out. Something along the line is, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
So for those who missed our mascot at the beginning, you'll see some great mascots in this game. That's why we had a mascot.
A lot of players have just printed out a picture, and I don't know.
I love the pictures. There's even a picture of, I believe, one of the player managers or referees is the picture on one of SSG's screens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we have our own. They have their player manager. I actually learned something fun about one of the mascots, which was Bleed's mascot. I talked to Mentalist about Joe, the mannequin.
Okay, yeah.
I said...
Oh, it's Joe and Joel?
Joe and Joel. I said, okay, how did you get... I said, how did you get a mannequin? They said, wouldn't it be funny if we had it? They went to Julio, and Julio went, I know where I can get one. Or like, along those lines, he had the expression of, it's like, he will sort it, and they get a mannequin. So, but I love it. I love that we raised this conversation. I asked a couple of people, I asked Pengu, I asked whatever.
Yeah, what would you pick?
What would you have? What would you have? And we have been gifted.
Well, borrowed.
Borrowed. Well, no, he's come to help us, Monkiness.
Volunteered.
So we can feel like we fit in with this very mascot-driven showdown. DarkZero, they have the mayor. Mayor McCheese.
Mayor McCheese.
Yeah, he's the mayor.
I might have missed that one.
You need to follow their Twitters more. Okay, great take from SSG when things started to go a little bit. As I said, they started to crank. They knew where they needed to be, and they knew how sort of hot and heavy they needed to get there. Nafe was the surprise strike before, but even with that lucky Na'Vi charm, let's see what he can do. The fun fact is with that Na'Vi charm, 3 of the best players in this tournament before this game started, Doki, Nafe, Citizen, all used to be on the same roster.
No.
Imagine it now.
Maybe one day they'll reunite under the same banner.
Get Kenny, get Nello.
Bring back the day. Foot's opening up from range. Not sure if there's anything there to stop it. Doesn't seem to be the case. The fire already went off on the bathroom side of things, and Houghton will shut down Panda. So it's gonna be the Solace God. Very aggressive entry there in terms of like positioning from the attacker out there. And as DarkZero finding themselves with one less, it's also the Solace. Now, of course, you still have Canadian around on the pulse, has a good opportunity to read where the players are, especially vertically, but no opportunity to hunt down any of that utility now. There you have it. C4's already been prepped.
On the
Dust
hunt.
coming through, they're just waiting for the go sign as the hatches open up. Just seems like no one really wants to move there, though, so Canadian's just watching it, because no one's coming there.
A minute on, pretty much the latest we've had every single player still standing at this point. A keen protection of the rotation with those gridlock tracks thingers. Trying to find that angle, just clear that little pocket cover of the plant, but it's a very awkward place to get your feet in, get the confidence. NJR's flipping around the bubbles, looks and goes for the cover. They're gonna just break that off and smash it. They're happy to take some control, but again, look, the sprays from Canadian just coming across the pillar player, doubles down with J90, getting NJR. It's Ashton that pops off against Bolo. Canadian doing his best with the gun he's famous for, but it's the sort of hip-fire revolver swinging it around. 30 seconds, a 2 versus 1. Leaving just Nafe alone. He was the first DZ player off the board last time round. Faults takes a bit of damage. I think that was team damage. Now it's a 1 versus... Whoa! Huge swing.
Just love listening to the players out here. I'm just who's going to not break down the round afterwards. Just listen, because they have the breakdown ready. What are you playing? Now, 4-4. SSG managed to equalize the score. Ah, is that the... Oh, we just saw the player manager out there on that one.
Hi, activate.
What? We just saw like the pictures on the screen.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Sorry, I was looking down at my notes.
No, that's okay. Good shot from Jane, I know, by the way. Why are we playing? Or what are you playing? I don't know which one it is. We work on the enunciation a little bit.
Well, there's the mascot pictures. Each of them is a different one. I don't know if we've fully broken down. Maybe that's an Ian Chambers job.
That should be an Ian Chambers job.
Yeah.
On the interview, just ask who did brought us as mascots. What would you bring as a mascot, though, if we didn't have our intern here today?
I don't think I'd ever be good enough to be a player. So I'd bring like a 4-leaf clover because I think it'd be pure luck that I was there. Would you bring something Verstappen?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't. I don't know what I would bring.
Look at that sweeping panoramic. It's like what they should do is in the reel that plays before that shows all the place of Sao Paulo, throw that in as well. Throw that shot in the mix.
Just a shot at Kafe, snowy Kafe.
See if people notice.
I have a feeling people will notice.
Oh, okay.
Especially considering, you know, snowy Kafe compared to sunny, but also rainy every now and then, Sao Paulo. No.
Oops.
We can try that again, don't worry.
He's not
I didn't want to do it. I was like, I'm not going to
Yeah,
fail
it's
twice.
embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Of course it's embarrassing. He'll go watch someone else for a little bit. We don't need to cover this. He's gonna...
Camera's watching me. I'm not going to do it now.
Yeah, he's gonna pull himself off. Nath gets himself the angles, obviously. This has been a bit of a back and forth here, but being able to pull it level. We don't have to replay this. That's cruel. It's like the two NA teams, DZ and SSG, are going at each other. Production's like, I want to get involved.
We are getting in on this.
Soon they're going to start shouting things at you guys in the gallery.
Especially after they see this in between.
You're costing production. What are you playing?
What are you playing?
What are you playing?
What are you playing?
I sort of said it at the previous round. It was the longest we generally had. Every player still standing. It seems like SSG, they're happy to take a little bit more time before getting into that first engagement, as opposed to DarkZero, who sort of wanted to hit the ground running and then keep running. It does allow DarkZero these sort of seconds and moments to build, but so far, both times, the execute has come down into the favor of SSG.
Yep, and as we're around on reading, it's, you know, it used to be one of those default go-tos as well. A lot of top floor would be necessary to open up the opportunity to plant reading. Now, there's no real pressure coming down from the side of SSG currently. Canadian being spotted out, bringing back the fight with a P90, missing the opportunity to actually lock off Houghton. He's trying to lean back into the fight, doesn't know he's about to be flanked though, as Houghton just pulling off in time, 40 seconds, and Ashen will find Nate. A second kill to come through, and Bolo as well goes for the third somehow. Will find Panda, and only NGR and Canadian left now as Canadian. Will find one in return, but Canadian downstairs, below, opening up with the impact. The plant in the meantime is going down, and he gets shut down by J9. Oh! And Ashen with a huge round, 3 kills from about a square meter. Didn't have to move whatsoever.
Do you know who probably loves this the most? The videographers and photographers who have to put together those like reels of like hype. It's probably
That's definitely it.
They're like they saw this matchup and they just like rubbed their hands together like this is gonna be great. This is like
I'm gonna get so many money shots.
We get so much footage. A tactical timeout is called by DarkZero. They have found themselves 1 round down, 3 lost defenses in a row on their map.
But more importantly, they're losing the trash talk game right now.
Okay, I don't know. I mean...
No, for sure. Like, the defenses that they're losing in a row right now, and some of them are more like confirming for the side of SSG than others. Like, we've had quite a close round here and there, but overall, SSG really in the driver's seat ever since we swapped halves. You know, and it started with they're going to try and do a default take onside the freezer. Yeah, sure. still managed to stick it in the end. There was no
It was a great
utility to stop with it.
You have to look at how everything as well played out in that first round.
It's just a pure roar coming.
Honestly, so much fun to cast. If you're putting down the top numbers, you're free to pop off. If you're the only player in the room if you're the only person in the room on double figures, pop off.
Yeah, pop off.
Pop off.
Just get in their minds as well, you know.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I just really want Canadian to do another clutch with the UMP. I just want to relive that moment.
The classic historical clip.
I'm all this.
I mean, if we're all about history, we kind of, if you're a DarkZero supporter, want classic Bolo right now.
Yeah.
Previous hammerlifter, previous, you know, sort of MVP and EVP of the whole tournament. He's obviously coming back into a roster very late. Him and Nafe have joined up, but he's unfortunately not been able to find the same bite into a game. Now, it's, in a lot of cases, not massively too comparable, obviously, because he's been out of the game for a bit of time.
And
he was
meta shifted hugely.
Meta shift is massive. He's sort of filling these roles, playing this Fenrir here and not on the same sort of operators, but you know what he's capable of. It's always that sort of point, and you really want to see that delivered in the server, especially in a game like this, where if there was anything he was familiar with, well, then here it is.
It really popped off against Liquid, though. He had a really good game up against him, like massively positive as well. Just kind of struggling right now. It's always a bit of a shame to have that. See the Heartbreak schedule being used, or destroyed rather, with the impact grenade. Pamba will get the kill onto Ashen, but does go down in the trade. So a bit of a 1v1 trade to come through, and I'm not sure if they're aware of that, but there's definitely a hunt towards him right now. Not quite sure if Fultz knows of his location. Bolo's trying to cover Canadian as well. They might be losing too many players out here to try and recover Pamba, because both of them fell. And Bolo now finds himself stuck in train. Do they know where he is? Well, they're definitely watching his direction here. J90 about to find himself into a 1v1 with Bolo. Who's gonna pop up, find one, instantly tries to rotate out, but gets shot through the back as there was a second player in mining.
Yeah, great positioning there. They were prepared for the trade. They obviously suffered on the loose player, even though they won the round last time round. And here, they've got each other's backs. They're ensuring their heads are on a swivel to get that punishment much quicker, perfectly put together, and not quite falling and suffering the same risks. They still have a lot of time here, and oh, not quite. The drop onto one, but the second is in. The drop player's behind him, which didn't quite see. I like that Ashen moved his mic so he wasn't shouting at his teammates' ears. I appreciate the thought and sentiment. To his boys, his brothers, he's like, I'm not going to shout in their ears, but I'm going to make sure DarkZero hear me.
They need to hear me, you know? My friends, my teammates, they'll hear me as well, but they don't need to hear me that loud. But you see it right now in their faces. It's a bit beat down on the side of DarkZero. You said it before, like, you know, Canadian pops off because he wants to keep those, like, the motivation and morale high instead of DarkZero, but you kind of see, like, they're wondering right now, like, what's going wrong? What do we need to do different? Because it's just not connecting. And I think in that last round, they were too heavily focused on trying to recover Pamba. Canadian dropped out from the balcony, got shot as he did. Then Bolo was also trying to lean in, but he found himself stuck.
Frustration here. I talked about how important keeping your team up and running are, and with 4 rounds now lost on the bounce, sitting down. Only 2 rounds away from OT.
10 seconds remaining.
However, they have struggled immensely to get a grip onto the actual execute. It seems like they have a good idea of where it's coming from. They have a couple of ideas of how to push against it. But whether it's just SSG's great read onto DZ's play on Kafe, or that little extra special sauce that they've been able to deliver here during a tournament where you sort of make the magic happen, there has been some huge, huge drives from SSG against the grain, against the sort of rhythm of a round to get themselves into the site and, importantly, get control of it. The wrested control of trades, as dictated in that round, has been so decisive.
You know, we had games where there was only 2 attacking rounds won overall.
Yeah,
We've
I
only
remember
had 2
those.
defensive rounds won overall now. So complete opposite. It's good to see that the...
This is resetting statistic.
yeah, we're resetting the statistics, bringing it back to 50%.
I did a series that was 5 rounds over 26 was attacker wins.
Yeah, okay.
I'm happy to see attackers get some action in.
I think we had like 2 out of like 24-ish or something at some point. It's like insane. But Spacestation doing really well, and especially with finding the first initial opening. They've been able to at least get these entry engagements, and if they don't win it, they at least trade it out immediately. So that's the important part. They're never really a man down. And with that, they allow themselves to continue being in this fight and continue forcing them out as Panda sees the EMP come. He's being shot as well from White. He continues being shot, eventually shut down. Oh, the impact will find a trade from Bolo, though, as Forrest finds Canadian. It's just trades all over the map. It's like a repeat of round 1 as Nave brings it back to a 3-on-3.
A bit of a surprise sudden strike there. They're obviously desperately trying to force that player off the upside down rappel on White Window. The catch on the ground floor, I mean, in amongst the chaos, someone getting lost. Nafe has done that a couple of times, but they weren't really able to get the capitalization behind it because of this. The base SSG then bring the momentum that they sort of find. They sort of take the damage and go, let's roll with this. Bolo refires the angle. There was a little bit of a wiggle there from Houghton, but Houghton has otherwise removed himself and is just going to sit and wait. 45 seconds, though, and what they're trying to do is ensure that there isn't a retake, because if SSG move down to the site and DarkZero move above them, you sort of have a bit of a favoritism there for DarkZero. They have that control. Bolo does find Houghton as Bolo goes down. They're not sure about getting them up because, well, that's one! Two of them! I mean, surgically removing 2 people. What a collateral.
This is what I
just saw the mascot of the gnome on the toilet on Ashen's.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. I saw someone tweet about that. I was like, what's the story behind this? It's like, where did this come from?
6-5. They finally break the deadlock. It did come down to, again, I adore watching this SSG sort of late round. I think it's so exciting. They're so driven towards making this fight happen. It's like 20 seconds.
Almost full as well.
Let's go.
Calm, let's go. No shouting back.
Not yet.
They realize they're like
Get
around
them to
behind.
OT.
Yeah. You don't see that often. A single pump finding 2 people that were almost both full HP.
It's the belief in that shotgun. That's what drives how bad.
Yeah, no, but that's it. The harder you believe,
The harder you believe in the English
the more
shotgun,
pellets come out of that thing.
the more damage it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it ever been scientifically proven? No. Has it ever been scientifically disproven? Also no. So there is always that opportunity.
5 seconds to insertion.
Mining in Dining up next.
Attackers are moving to the bomb.
And DarkZero, of course, they just managed to find their first, but they were man down. We have to say that they were about to be losing that round. If it wasn't for the shotgun to come in clutch and find those 2 players, end the round as a result.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 15 seconds or so left. There was Bolo is down. There was still, I think, at least 1, if not maybe 2 DarkZero players still standing off. Memory is hazy. No, 1. They got 2.
There was 1 Bolo down, and there was 2 still standing inside of SSG.
Yeah.
And they had the default plants under control, but it was a Goyo canister on it.
They
so you don't want to go
needed
for the
to
plant.
push. If they sat, it would have allowed them to get back up. They would have lost in the retake. You don't always know you're about to charge into a shotgun in a library.
And normally you wouldn't expect both to go down by it. Like,
No.
there's a bit of downtime on the pump out there. So,
Wants someone on the window.
I've seen that one before.
Is it
going
going
to kill back down?
go? Oh, they've seen the player.
So how are you going to deal with this, Ashen?
Probably not. They might
Capital.
walk in the way of it. Is that going to bounce around? No, they're not going to go for the bounce. Look at that, 2 C4s. They're really prepared for the entrance here. Maybe they're hoping enough attention is paid towards one of the 2 of them. You can see Forrest sort of calling the play here. They're working things out and going for the drive as the rest of the sort of busy work is being done. The break above the hatch on the site itself, or the connecting room in train. Dining is been the port of call so far for these 2 teams in attempt of plants and actually wresting control. There's Pamba with the hop out, or the run out even, all the way from the bottom. Removes Ashen, they lose.
Deploying a charge.
top player of the lobby.
Drop the bomb diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Polo now forced back towards 19. The hallway as they are opening up above the sites. There is actually someone in the site, or at least in reading. Houghton will find Canadian in the end as someone is actually rotating back up on the brown stairs. Houghton will find him as well. He's really just protecting Forrest out here. It's like, don't worry, I'm watching over you. And just finding the kills one by one. And now suddenly SSG find themselves in another advantage as Pamba is looking to come back up the red stairs. But flashbangs are going down. It seems like they might be aware of someone coming up here.
Pambury wants to swing into this engagement, but he's not entirely sure just how known he is.
Oh.
The blinds and, well, the swing
With the X-Kairos.
with the X-Kairos isn't going to net you a kill, but at least you don't get killed as the blinds come across. 20 seconds, though, and here we have to go for one of those patented last-second executes. The roll of the gridlocks. Forrest, he's buying himself some safety, and Bolo's buying himself some bodies. NJR with the backline outer as the spray goes all the way to the fireplace. J90 diving every which way, but he's got 9 seconds to find Bolo, and Pamba sprays through and does some damage, but the secondary locks it in, and OT is locked on.
I'm just confused why they decided to go for dining instead. I'm sure mining is way more open, but if you looked at defenders and how they were set up, especially if you just lost 2 players in there, I mean, it is what it is.
It is
6-6, overtime indeed.
what it is.
Just
SSG calling a timeout here. Obviously, they go from 4-2 down to 6-4 up to 6-6. They need to break that DarkZero momentum. And, well, fair enough, because I am curious, we'll get to know in a second when we go back in, who is going to be leading on defense.
Yeah.
If you come into this map statistically and it's your map, which is DarkZero's, you would be like, yeah, defense is going to be the easier half, we'll take that. Obviously, that has not been the point proven, unless you are a team that's just won the last 2 defenses and you're going straight back into it. The game hasn't changed for you. You can keep that momentum rolling, and you now have fresh pick of any of the sites possible as well, those that are previously won and locked. You can back-to-back it. If you really feel that confident, DZ will be staying on defense in OT, and they are going to go down to Kitchen.
okay.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, they've lost it twice.
Bo, did you have to leave me there? Like when we were about to getting spotted, breached, and I think there was a guy on my way.
Did you have to leave me, Bolo?
Attackers have discovered the
Hello.
location of a
Basically,
bomb.
he's saying, yes, I had to.
Hello.
Being spotted and breached.
Don't leave me.
So they lost service twice, DarkZero, on their defense. The first one, they knew it was going to be a freezer take, and they lost it. The second time, it was a bit more all around, but still, like, they're just losing bodies all over the site, and basically being flanked by the outnumbered SSG.
10
And they're starting
seconds
to go back here, so it's, for me personally, it's questionable, but
5
surely
seconds
there's a
left.
reason behind it, and I hope that they can portray what that is. Maybe it's
Attackers
just
are heading out
continuing
to
the
defuse
rotation,
bomb.
because we often see teams do that. It's like, even if they lose, they just continue up their default rotation as if they would win. This would be next up there, so maybe that's why they chose it. Just to stay in that rhythm.
A million bajillion questions can be asked of this. Maybe they thought that they would just sort of shake it. Maybe they think that SSG expected them to go to the middle floor, so would spend that time out talking about how to take that middle floor and then how to play against it so that they break that momentum. But at the same time, as you said, it has been a very solid place for SSG to go into and put the pressure onto it. You have the solace of Nave to do those plays. The Echo is back, but in the pockets of Canadian this time.
He didn't have that much luck when he was playing on the Solace earlier. Nave now, on doing so, here's the repels and knows that the player's at top. This went wrong the last time when they were on the receiving end of it. Now managing to get away with it. Of course, it's still soft, so it's easily opened up. Like 20 bullets, just 3 punches. But at least it limits
Is it
the
20 bullets?
21 bullets, I think, if you hit everything.
That's
Usually
a lot
when you
more than I thought.
Usually when you start spraying through, like you hit the same space twice, and then it doesn't count.
Okay. Whatever.
I think it's 21 bullets.
What has slightly changed here in terms of the approach of SSG? Obviously, the Ram is doing some Ram raiding over the second story and seeing what falls loose. But Forrest, with the Monty, trying to drive this shield potentially in. The hatch itself is locked, but that'll quickly get opened by the pocket breach. As again, the Ram is just making any of those defender positions, any of those sort of locked-in corners, nowhere near as safe as they were before. Sees the Echo drone, wants to chase it.
He's not going to catch up.
No, a little bit out of pace.
Quick check.
I love it. I love the use of the Echo drones like that.
Yeah. No one's on the balcony, so don't have to worry about that. But it might already be inside, and that's the bigger issue. Minute left on the clock. SSG facing off in a 5v5. Not for much longer, though, as Pamba taking a lot of damage. Bolo tossing over the Nitro Cells, not actually going to be able to connect it.
Do they know that Monty is in?
Yeah.
Does Forest? Yep, there it is. The reveal in the call, they're pinging the players. There's obviously an Echo drone. They're going to see if they can get the plant. There's the impact, takes Forest very low. The Echo drone will stop it as Nathan Bolo are able to find one apiece. Forest, he's going to double down. What else is he supposed to do? As they get the smoke in, we hear another Echo drone pop off. Forest is going to go 3 for his lucky charm. Canadian rotating his way back round. Bolo with a huge take, and he hops over the top, gets the lockdown. 3 for Bolo. Houghton is left alone in a 1 versus 5 as Bolo's just going to get the camp to defuse. The Monty could not get his shield back up in time, so DarkZero knocked that round back down.
Don't hear any shouting yet from their side. But if they win the next, we know what's happening. That is going to be one loud Canadian heading right after SSG. And I think this is what they were talking about. It's just the more turtle approach rather than spreading themselves out and trying to go for a bit of a roam. It's more compact, it's more pressured, and having the utility to stop a plant from happening in the main part of thing. Bolo almost got team killed there, by the way, but the impact that was just tossed at the Monty kind of caught it. 7-6 overtime map point.
Bam, bam, bam.
Dun, dun, dun.
Unfortunately, spoken words might have been a curse. Once upon a time, I talked about Ashen popping off because fair enough, you're the first player and the only player at that point to be in double figures. Since then,
Yeah.
a lot of other players have also got themselves into double figures. Noticeably, Bolo, who I said was missing. When I talked about him about 4 or 5 rounds ago, he was only on 2 kills. Since then, has really found a rhythm. And it's one of those moments where it's just, you know what these players are capable of. As I said it at the time of the criticism of he will know what he's capable of, he will know what he's developing, he's finding his feet and getting himself into the rhythm of a team and a game that has massively changed. And then when he starts to get into that rhythm and the smile's on his face, the smile is on no one else's face against him.
It's like a buggy. Once it starts rolling, it just keeps rolling.
Don't blame it on it.
No. Doing well, especially in those latter rounds. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you win this 8-7 or if you win this 7-0, because it's the map win that counts in the end. And that's what they will be aiming for. Information here from the side of Forest. Knows what is on his window. Knows he's coming close to his window. But he's also backing off. He's like, am I being watched? My spider senses are tingling.
I mean, you can see Forest, he's always talking. He's giving all of that intel, all of that information to his team. Now remember, a Solace read led to disaster for an attempt at a deploy on a castle barricade. So they're probably going to be a little bit double checking about all of their intel that comes through. However, nothing was on the back of it as of yet. DarkZero, they were very firm on some of their takes, but their worst ones were their opening 2. It was sort of SSG getting off to a very hot start.
Yes, but it was also DarkZero bringing it in quickly, and they're more composed now. They're bringing it in slowly. They're making sure everything is droned out. As Pamba misses the opportunity for, well, not a free kill, but Houghton could have definitely lost his life for some HP out there. He's rotating down towards the bottom floor, but he's being hunted down. They know where he went. Pamba following in as well. Still has an E1D left. Is he going to be committing it to this play, to this one player? That's the big question.
They're hoping he goes for the side, and Nafe actually just kills the man from all the way. I do love that gun. As is Nafe, apparently. The first has gone, but a lot of time has been focused on it. As I said, they're pretty driven. There's the second. Forest gets caught out from Bolo from above. He's getting himself some width on the angle by destroying that so he can rotate round. J9O and Fultz cleaning their way out of the washroom. They're going to see if they can try and bite and fight, maybe down, keep the rotate together, and see if they can just work on that trade game that, as I said, SSG were really, really good on their attack with. But DarkZero, they go back to the droning. It's a 5 versus 3. They know they can lock this out here. It's their map. They know they've got a very frantic fight ahead of them. And then potentially the follow-on of Bank. Another quick-moving, quick-aggressive map. They want this to be done as quickly as possible. It has been about 6 hours hours ago since they started their first series against Liquid. And now they want to start this one off in a similar fashion. 20 seconds. The reveal of the player and the take by Canadian. Faults removed as they start to eye up the site. Nafe with the lockdown, the C4 over the top. It won't quite catch the player. Canadians going for the plant. Uh-oh, it's NJR's all caps. There's the follow through. DarkZero just pull their map back. They were on the deficit. SSG did a great fight, and they know they're about to bring it on Border.
Border is going to be even more explosive. Of course, the map is going to be paper thin. It is way more likely to see these kind of scrappy rounds like we had in round 1 and round 2 for the majority of Border. But DarkZero, even though it seemed like they might have been kicked down, it was a 6-4. Managed to bring it back, find themselves to overtime, and lock it off within 2 rounds, not needing all 15.
Wow. I don't want to waste any more time, so let's throw it to a quick break before we're back with the DAS.
Sorry, a Virtus Pro, definitely.
go, boys. Good fucking map.
This is what I'm here for. This is what we want. Loud and proud as DarkZero make their way back to their stations. Behind me here, you are back watching the playoffs here at SI in Sao Paulo. My name's Ian. I'm joined by the analysts Laxing and Jesse, ready to pick that first map apart. DZ take it. It's their map pick. It was very tight. Yep. As we saw just a moment ago, it was very loud, very passionate. Would you call that a shaky DarkZero win or not?
Yeah, it wasn't as confident as anything we saw earlier today against Liquid, that's for sure. They went down 6-4 initially, and they were looking like they might just lose this map. Dropping their own map pick would have been disastrous. They couldn't find a win on defense. They get bailed out a couple times by NJR, having some fantastic site play. They call that attack time up going into overtime. They turn that around and close out the game. At the end of the day, they get the job done for DarkZero, but that one certainly is going to cause a few more heartbreaks, their heart attacks than their last series.
Lax, I feel like we're in for a long night, brother.
I mean, yeah, definitely. DZ does a good job at keeping their fans close on edge of a heart attack. That is for sure, in DZ fashion.
Well, one thing that was extraordinarily entertaining to watch and very loud was Ashen in the server and in this room right here. I think we can take a look at some of his loudest and most proudest moments here.
I mean, I love just seeing rookies come into Siege, really put up a performance, show why they were picked up by these T1 teams, and just continue to make names for themselves. And Ashen is a name that everyone is starting to get used to, and I just love to see what he brings to this team and then also brings vocally as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ashen, this clip right here on the Nook, kind of stealing his teammates' thunder. This is usually the hot and cold operator. We see Ashen popping off with it, hitting some insane shots this game. Very loud guy. Brings the energy, brings the life to Spacestation. He always does this for the squad. He's very impactful both in the server and out of it in terms of getting their mental up, and he had a fantastic game here today. Fortunately, not enough to get the W, but still a really strong performance for Ashen.
I mean, Lax, this is what you want, right? You want the big characters like this, as long as they can back it up.
Yeah, and again, coming in for a rookie to be making a name for yourself, making yourself well-established and known, and again, why you were picked up by these T1 teams should not only inspire the rest of the team, but even inspire people coming into Siege that want to perform, that feel like, you know, they might not have what it takes. Like, look at Ashen, someone that's brand new coming into it and solidifying their name in the scene.
Jesse mentioned NJR and how he was so pivotal in this first map here, but you've got a clip in particular you want to highlight here.
Yeah, I mean, NJR has been moving mountains. I mean, it was round 3, NJR just gets a mean 4K coming down Brown. I mean, the ping there, free kill, gets another kill looking into Freezer, one and done, and I believe he swings this guy inside Claws and just rips his head off. Yeah.
See ya.
Gone. I mean, Ashen, I know we're typing you up, but you just got smoked, and then he just goes in and cleans it up. I mean, it's an NJR smoke show nonetheless. But NJR, we've talked about it a million times.
Yeah, and especially on attack. I mean, we talk about him as an anchor, but he really is good working his way in when his teammates are distracting, finding those little angles. The crosshair placement in that clip as well, always completely on point, finding those tiny little pixel headshots. Beautifully done by NJR in this match.
Prior to getting to the overtime period, SSG were really dominant in attack, right?
Certainly. I mean, they won their first 4 attacks in a row. They crushed it.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say about that one. They smoked them.
And I think that goes into, I feel they were just playing way more aggressive than DZ had expected because they haven't been playing against an aggressive attacking team. Like I said, Liquid, they weren't playing as aggressive, and it also looked like one person was trying to figure out what to do, while the other 3 were also trying to figure out what to do. But we talked about it. SSG is going to have someone ready to refrag right behind them, and going forward, I mean, that's literally what they did. They were always on top of each other, or they were finding DZ out, going for the pinch, going for the trades, getting the man advantage, and then just converging onto site and closing it out overall.
Max, take us to that first round of OT, the DZ flank.
So this is the beautiful thing about being in LAN, is you can hear the teams talking right here, and there was a moment right here where you hear NJR and Nafe or Bolo just say, hey, let's go for a flank right now, and then you see the collapse up top. You get the 2 kills up top, it takes a distraction away. Now you have a SSG discombobulated on how they want to go for this and how they want to approach it. They do want to get the bomb down, but DZ ends up taking complete control of this round due to that flank and just completely throwing SSG's comms off.
Interesting switch up too. We often talk about DarkZero. They love having Canadian out on the roam, on the Solus or the Pulse or whatever, to give his teammates that information. We saw Canadian take an operator that's usually belonging to NJR, the Echo in that round, play that more site-focused gameplay. He had a good denial on the Montaigne before he could finish that plant off, which allowed the team the time to go for that flank and for Bolo to come in and stop that plant in the end of it. I liked that a little bit from Canadian. You know, we don't see it too often from him. He's a very distinct style inside of North America where he loves to get up, active on the roam, call that information for his teammates. But down on the yokai drones, I mean, he can prove that he can do it both ways as well.
Absolutely.
You can see there on screen, the next map is, of course, Border. Jesse, what are your thoughts going into this?
So if map 1 was difficult for DarkZero, this one's going to be even tougher. Border is a map that Spacestation Gaming have an 8-1 record on this season. Their only loss coming against Mirage, funny enough, in stage number 2. In Atlanta, they've beat both NIP and Bleed. In Sao Paulo, they've taken out FaZe and Bliss. It is a map they love. And for DarkZero, we have yet to see it through the 6 Invitational. It's one of the few maps that they have been banning very consistently. They got rolled on this map by M80, their opening match of stage 2. Redeemed themselves against Sonics in their rematch on the map in the stage 2 playoffs. So there is some wins, but it's a very, very shallow pool of odds to go back on. DarkZero have avoided it till now. For me, the question is, have DarkZero been not banning this map, or been banning this map because they are very afraid of it, because they don't like to play it?
Yeah.
Or do they have something cooked up for this match?
Very short and snappy prediction for this one. Lax?
I'm going to go with DZ.
Jesse?
No way we don't see 3.
Well, one thing for sure, it's going to get loud in here, so you're going to love every second of it. Let's go to Border with Fluke and Hap.
Thank you very much. And yes, it is going to get loud. So loud, I'm sort of expecting someone to make some noise at some point, just based on those guys down there. Border. I think Jesse put it quite well there. We haven't seen it from DZ, really. So this is the question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, that's the thing. And of course, you know, there is year stats. They have played it there, but it's been so much time to reinvent yourself for some of these maps that we cannot really say how things are going to go, especially with Nathan Bowler being added to the lineup. All the stats just go out of the window, and you can basically just throw them away, not have a worry about them. And that's also like the scary thing. Like SSG, they've seen those vaults, but they're old vaults and they're very limited. But they feel confident on this map. They've been able to put up some good results on this map, and they'll try and continue putting up those results.
Doc lol. This is actually, they have always banned Dockerby.
Yeah, and they do it again.
Do you know who they always ban on defense? It's literally the same every single time.
Azami? My thingy is having troubles.
Your tablet.
My tablet, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, see, Ashton knows it as well as Army lol. Yeah, it's something because we're sort of jumping over games, I had a lovely conversation with Dez earlier. As rare as it is, I get to say that. They always ban Dockerby as Army. They've banned Dockerby as Army every time. The Ying ban against them, I think, is a sort of sign of respect towards the play that they're able to make happen with Ying. They know that it's going to go, and then Valkyrie is Valkyrie. Get her out of Border.
Yeah, especially in Border, so much clutter you can hide those cameras in, so much dark corners as well, where if the camera's not active, it's very difficult to actually spot without bringing the IQ. So removing that is always a nice choice. But again, Fenrir will be left on the board because of that. And there is lots of close angles here on Border that when you step in, you kind of want to take the fight instantly. You don't want to be blinded. Top 4 first. Surprise.
Who do you think is going to win?
I actually think SSG will take this. And I think they'll be able to take this quite convincingly, like a 7-3, 7-4.
Okay.
I'll write it down.
Write it down. I mean, you said it, so it's like that's like another way of writing it down.
No, of course, but I'll write it down just in case you forget what I said.
Which is like the writing it down version of writing it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Is writing it down.
Yeah.
What do you think? Monkiness has left us for now. They've got work to do, but they are currently actually with Milosh. And Milosh, I don't think, will ever let Monkiness go. So I think
they're taking care of Milosh, not the other.
They love them. They're very soft cuddles. Both Milosh and Monkiness.
But it didn't answer my question. Who do you think is going to win?
I think SSG as well. I think it's going to be a bit closer. Again, I've said it from the start. I want 3 maps.
Yeah.
I've also said it from the start. I really enjoy watching SSG play Border. It was some of the most fun, sort of, as I said, the charges of Blitz up around the core metal stairs. It was one of the first times I looked at Modern Blitz and went, oh yeah, that can be done like that. And I'm not saying that they sort of revolutionized the operator, but there's something fun about watching how they approach this map and the sort of aggression that they build towards it. That's sort of the point of it. The quick twitch gets the double. They're the important part. And look at this, either side is safe. They've made themselves a little sort of protective bubble in case someone goes for the jump out behind them. and then they can try and deploy it. If you're going for this Oster shield plant, you have to do two things. One of them is make sure that you have some safety underneath. There's a solace in the top right. If you do not have an eye onto that, well, then you're just going to lose it. The second is to bait out the utility that will get tossed towards you. So the impacts are a little bit trickier to bait out, but the C4 especially, you need to ensure that you deploy and doesn't get broken.
They've already tossed 2 impacts. Both of them fell short. Fultz now also taking loads of damage as the first E1D pops. It's going to be, of course, the windows or the shields that are being redeployed right now, or at least they're playing right behind it still. We still have Bolo on the Amaru with the Gara hook. Has the opportunity to just basically pop up from anywhere, but for now playing around the east stairs side of the map, trying to put some pressure down onto the office. Of course, that's the main point where people rotate back in from.
I mean, the take that I love and the take that we've seen some success from is sandwich window with the quick zip. You sort of get yourself in and swing either side. It's a bit of surprise, but you do it under the cover of the E1D, makes some noise. Canadian. The only noise he made was, I'm going to kill you, as J9O gets caught out on 90. I was kind of hoping he died so I could say ow, but he was able to win out the engagement. Nafe is trying to find the scrap, but with that castle window and with Ashen not being able to see anything, he's underneath. And as I said, this is like the problem position at this point. The verticality can turn into a little bit of a blow. They rotate their way up the middle stairs, and Pamba rotates them right back down with a gun. Fultz, though, tucked in close, gets a kill, not going to move, but the reveal doesn't really matter too much. 40 seconds left, and JR has the cover onto Fultz. There is still the single player inside the site of Houghton. He's over the top, and with Ashton getting a take onto Canadian behind, the quick rotate allows him to get closer towards the site as well. The blinds come, he just gets out of there. He's got to wait until his teammate comes up. There's sandwich window, and there's the zip that I wanted to see. Bolo might do, but he needs to make sure that he times it with some combination so he doesn't just get caught. There it is. There's the fight almost instantly. As I said, they leant into it. They're trying to find the pocket of space. Ashton caught out on the approach up the metal stairs onto Beepers. Houghton has the moment to swing. The C4 over the top doesn't quite get the bite. They're planting on the opposite side as well. Great kit rotation here. He's going for the engagement. Downs onto one, but a post plant isn't enough.
I was actually really confused by that round because obviously their whole plan and idea was to go for archives and try and get that plan down. But they quickly realized there's going to be that C4 player is quite difficult to get rid of and didn't really want to commit. And these saw them rotate over towards east and they're like, yeah, there's a soft wall here, but we don't have any soft breach. It's kind of difficult to get that kill out. And they just kept rotating all around the map, and eventually they found themselves in an armory plant. So DarkZero literally went to every single room they could, I think, with that diffuser during this game. Of course, Canadian finding the early opening, very important. Force dropping out there as well, basically cuts the reinforcements. So they managed to get most of those kills in like good positions, but due to the fact that Houghton was still alive, they couldn't actually go for the plan that they initially had. So they decided to just try and work it around.
Whoa, that was cool. That was a fucking cool round.
I want that as like the, just like.
I want it as a sound bite.
Just
so
a sound bite.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was a cool round.
Cool round. I mean, it was, because it wasn't as straightforward as it might have looked at the start of the game round. Because back then it really was like, okay, waiting out some utility, then we go. But again, Houghton being alive so long, not having anything to deal with it, no soft breach being there either to open up office, found them the result they were looking for.
Ashton, a tour de force on the previous map, but at least for the large majority of it, and unfortunately lost a bit of the same steam and consistency he had towards the end. If he can try and get some of that energy back, he might be able to get himself making quick work, but you sort of look through that first round. They're obviously only able to really get 2 kills. DarkZero, they learned lessons from their early mistakes before. I want to make sure that they don't make the same here. Doubling back on their attacks. It's border. You do often like enjoying your attack first. Get through it. Get yourself that sort of bonus. Nafe on the blitz. There was a time when he was playing in EUL. And I would have seen Nafe. What? Oh, it gets the hard ball. It gets the hard ball on the left.
For a second there, I was like
that.
It's soft though. It's
yeah,
fine, you get both. But
I'm sure a lot of people thought, what? No, that is a very valid thing to do. That wall on the left-hand side, if it's reinforced as well, will get blown up.
yes, no, for sure. Like for a second though, I was like, what the hell is happening here?
It's a valid thing to do. You are not all crazy.
It is. A soft breach would have done the same thing. However, they didn't have one.
They didn't know. Well, they might have known that wall.
Yeah, you can drone it, but you know, but still, it's like they didn't have a soft breach, so this is the next best thing you have.
Yeah.
This still looks very crazy.
It does look
This is going to get clipped, and like, even pro players do this.
Even pro players make mistakes. No, it's a very cool little trick. And Hot, in the meantime, chilling, sitting, in-seating, waiting for an approach to come towards him. J9O's got the cover over the top, but it's Pamba that goes down first. Faults on the cover. Nath is going to see if he can try and move behind it as the E1D pops. They cover their rotation and they see their target. Oh, Bolo stole the kill and he seems a little bit depressed, but he's going to watch towards the hatch itself as Bolo goes for the plant. They've snuck this one right in. Oh, J9O! Usain finds the second. Forest, in fact, swings around and gets the cover onto Bo. NJR, he's trying to fight his way. They're going for the defuse in the meantime. You've got to get a move on, mate. Hotton's got the number. Hotton's got the counter.
It's just delayed as well. I don't know if you saw, but like the post camp, 2 shots right in the chest of Hotton, but it's going to be that 1-1. Plant went down. No one really in position yet to really stop that from being counter-diffused right away. So a good retake, a quick retake from Spacestation helping out. Of course, they had the man advantage, but Canadian, he was all the way on the opposite side of the map. He had to double time back towards the actual objective to stop him from getting it. Actually, what I do like is, you know, usually when we're in online play, we have like the different kinds of cameras that we have, like forehead cams, but also the people that sit all the way back. Here, we often see people drink water from our famous cups. I really want a compilation of the different ways you drink water.
Located by attackers.
We see someone just like
You want a
squish it
compilation?
down.
I'm sorry.
No, okay, so we have some people that use straws.
Wait, hang on.
Some people like squish it down, like they just make a fist with that thing in it. And then you have Nave, who's almost putting the pinky up whilst he's drinking.
Well, he's British.
Yeah, like a true British person.
I do the posh British voice, and I've actually irritated quite a few people doing this voice.
Have you?
Yes. You want a compilation?
Okay, maybe like which kind of water drinker are you, Post? Just me.
So the 2 suggestions you've thrown. Which water drinker are you?
I didn't say I was a genius at social media, right?
No, but I mean, socials might run with this. Salty, Disper, if you're listening. Which water drinker are you? Or a compilation video of different ways. Imagine
the
it as
highlight
like,
reel.
yeah, with like the highlight reel with the sick music, people drinking water in different ways.
Gotta hydrate.
This is a
important.
casting link suggestion.
It is important to hydrate.
What a piece! The Sam cams all the way to the top of Nath. No shield. And I was going to sort of say the unfortunate positioning of the Blitz in that position is, well, if there's an angle you're probably going to lose to and be prepped to, it's that sort of drop down above. The reveal of your head is always a bit of a nightmare, the Twitch drone cannot destroy that I've done because it is currently closed.
Yeah.
Hotton hasn't put the code into it, and he's just going to keep it off for now, so they've got to make sure that they keep the drone alive for now.
From underneath?
Perhaps.
Perchance.
Very cool play, very cool break. I love the read on it. No impact to stop it. It forces Hotton to move away. Do you know what they would have done once upon a time? Bounce the grenade up. Can't do that anymore, but you can do that. Blow it up from underneath and then kill the player.
Entry, but instantly traded out as Canadian found one onto Ashton, but, you know, he didn't last much longer than that. Nave from the upside down repel now, trying to go for a bit of a challenge of force. He's, of course, holding the doorway, though, or holding a passive angle, as they just saw him walk by there. I'm not sure if Forrest saw the exact same thing himself as well, but stays in a 4v4 for now. Pamba has the opportunity to go down below, though, and start opening up with the skeleton key. Remove the majority of the safe spaces there are inside of the armory, and with that, you mean the half full. Of course, there's almost always someone playing there when the execute starts popping, especially in your rank game. Has dropped off in Pro League, however.
Blinded by the mine, that one's definitely active, and it's a very awkward one to get rid of. Fenrir, again, has had a huge performance, but there's just so many operators to ban. Hotton on that operator is trying to just get the sliver of the fight there onto the window, but it's not otherwise offered to him. What is, though, is a good amount of time working in their favor. Pamba's still trying to force this player out of this position that once upon a time, as I said, would be played against a grenade, would have taken and wrested control of, but now 30 seconds left. He's confident to sit in that place. Bolo's about to breeze past the window, where he might get shot in the side of the head, with Hotton not too far away, holding onto the door. Nafe rotated their way with the kit to try and find the plant, just tucked in on the opposite end, but as the ping of the reveal comes, Forrest tears them apart. Faults with the C4, J9O onto Pamba. Hotton is down in the meantime. It's just Bolo swinging for every which way inside the site, but they know exactly where he is. They're not going to offer him the angles. SSG pull themselves ahead.
Good round for SSG there. Of course, they lost the entry, instantly traded, but managed to keep it nicely around the side and not really allowing too many opportunities for DarkZero to benefit. He saw that there. The Warden was playing the small half on, not the one that just got opened up by the buck, but the one looking over the entire balcony where we often see this the Ossa plants coming down from. Had the bulletproof cam up there, was just waiting for the right call to go up, and at the moment he gets spotted, he just jumps up, finds that kill. And from there on, they just managed to basically swing the numbers in their way. DarkZero trailing by a round. It's not the end of the world. So here you have it, Forrest getting that ping, swinging up as soon as the drone hits him. Boop. C4 as well.
Has been dropped.
I mean, it's well rehearsed. It is the modern default
10
take.
seconds to go.
You know, it's the standard approach here. You'll get the sort of clear. There's a couple, obviously. There's a couple of common ones, but not sure how they got there. Knew how to remove them.
That's the most important. If they get there, that's fine, as long as you can take them out.
As long as you can take them out.
10 seconds.
Because then it's not an issue.
It's not an issue.
If they're there, you can take them out, then it becomes a problem.
5 seconds left before insertion.
DarkZero, strong opener. Unfortunately, fallen a little bit by the wayside. The first round, they haven't been able to get the kit down on as well. They weren't even really putting proper pressure onto the site itself. Whether that is SSG waking up or just a failed plan, I guess we'll see as those stats start to develop over the course of the game. Full roam. J90 keeping himself busy in the office.
Ventilation actually one of the most successful defensive sides so far in the map. That has been relatively 50-50. I mean, even when we're having like very heavy defense-sided meta right now, you can trust Border to bring it back slightly towards the attack. Force running over as soon as he does see customs getting opened up. Some Selma's being used out there. He's aware of the fact that they might be pushing in that position. So what does he do? He starts playing in just to make sure there's some presence, just to make sure they're not like going through unseen. It means there's a slight rotation coming through, and Ashen, whilst using the ERC7, which is a gadget of Vigil, is going to make sure that he's not going to get spotted.
Can they force an engagement and a position change here, or they can punish them? Is this sort of saw on the previous round? SSG were pushed a bit and then pulled themselves back in. Pamba just with the duck into detention, and gonna see if they can get the hot hop to Forrest. Who is he droned?
No, he's not.
Not well enough. He got caught just at the end there, but Pamba could not win the engagement, the E1D. And a second stack up, quick rotate, pressure either side, but he has already done pretty huge damage. The sliver and the shake either side, pre-firing the angles, NJR gets the end of him. But really should have been a clean kill and take there from DarkZero.
He was actually droned out because Canadian on the Twitch drone zapped him at the moment, like right before the actual push came through, but he didn't really care. It's like, that's 1 HP, I can take that. I just need to find a kill instead. So well done there, just not getting panicked off by one of those Twitch drone zaps to come through. Fultz with a lot of information, spots out one on his phone, spots out a couple of drones down below. That's going to be called out, like, hey, they're working on that ground floor, they're working towards that main door. Of course, that's where the site is in ventilation and workshop, but we still have a very heavy top floor presence out here as Ashen about to be swinging a window. Actually, Bola will get the better of him.
The Vigil really has a netted reward. And Nath nets his own. There's J90 getting NJR on the back. 6-1 so far this map, J90. He was a point of comparison from the desk very early on, and here he's sort of making that statement of returning to that statistical anomaly position. The attempt, third plant on the fourth possible round. Houghton wants to go for a hoppin here, but he's not entirely sure where the fight is. There it is. Nath, upside down repel is actually the one to net the kill. Leaves just J90 on this kit recovery position with the upside down repel. Watched on a drone, the swing on the double door. You sort of go which way. They're not really possible fights in any sense of the word. And that round was sort of already ridden. 2 apiece.
Solid bite back there from DarkZero, and SSG maybe going a bit too aggressive on that top floor hold. When you had Ashen going aggressive onto Bolo, they knew he was there. I mean, they've had drones in there, and you know, the little white lines that pop up when you're droning has constantly been there. Actually had the ping out, so he swapped from the door to the window whilst not being in the ERC7 cloaking, so they knew that he was going to go for that swing. It was known, it was acted upon as well by the side of DarkZero. So 2-2, going over to bathroom. And if DarkZero find themselves with 3 attacking rounds here, I think they found themselves in a pretty good situation. So all they need is really 1 more, potentially 2, if it would suit them.
At this point, I'm kind of glad that they've moved off the Vigil here. As they alluded to, it wasn't really working. You can see the idea. Obviously, on a map like this, we can have a lot of hot rotations and how wide those lines can sort of stretch on this boxy play space, on the fact that there's a lot of softs. You could really waste potentially a lot of time.
5 seconds to
DZ
go.
have just been aware of that. They're closed down on Ashen every single round has just sort of entirely locked him out of the chance at getting into the swing of the game. So instead, go for a slightly different play against those drones. Go onto the Solace, where you're still playing against that intel game, but you can be more active.
The thing is as well, right, with the Vigil, they will still know you're there. They just don't know exactly where you are. So they're aware of your presence, and they're aware that they're going to have to, you know, pay attention or respect to you. But it's not like you're completely invisible, like Nuck, for example, is when she uses her hell device. So that is something to keep in mind. If anything, it's more of a stalling tool than it is really to try and get yourself some sneaky kills that they weren't aware of. Now, as they are attacking the bathroom, office is usually a huge contest point for the attack. You obviously also just go for a straight horizontal approach, but you know, then the verticality not working in your favor could get yourself shut down before you even get that plan down. So that's what we'll be waiting for. Default camps shut down. It's going to be removing that little bit of utility. It is the basics of any competitive play, or any play really, that you take out the information that the opposing team has. Especially so inside a pro play. Sometimes when you see those default camps left up, it's so dangerous.
And they just were able to get
they were.
the jam that was there on that drone hole, so that's going to put Fault in a bit of an irritating position, because now it can be rolled in and get some eyes. There's still one directly on the player, but having eyes in there is that most important step at this point. As I said, the drone game here from DZ has been very, very well put together. They have about 6 total left, but they're making sure that they are all very proactive. Obviously not counting the Twitch drones. Ooh, there are Terros.
Reloading, cover me.
They're about to have a quick fight here onto Square. I don't know if Nafe knows that Hotton's just on the other side.
They don't know.
Yeah, pulls himself back to break. He's also a bit unsure about how safe he is.
Now, they have opened up verticality above passports, and that is where he's currently playing. For a second, Bolo actually wanted to be entering that. I think they fell off right now, though, so they're not going to try and enter from that position anymore. Yeah, actually went upstairs, so they're going to try and put some pressure down. Oh, to East! Didn't see J90 coming out of the rotation that was on the East wall. Shuts him down. That loses you your heart bridge. That's going to be quite painful, and GR not able to find a response as Hotton will be able to take down Nave. So suddenly DarkZero find themselves dwindling in numbers here.
I mean, they thought that they could try and, like, slip in here onto the east stairs, but as you said, they don't know how well they were watched. The idea of safety, I said they were good at droning, but unfortunately also a bit too trustworthy with it. Canadians, they a lot of damage. Wins his engagement. NJR has taken a lot of damage and hasn't been able to finish his yet. As Ashton rotates around the back, tears the head off for one. Pamba does find one, but there's Ashton with a second, swaps up, an instant success.
Come on, let's do 3. There's no need to shout at this moment.
Yeah, there is. Let him fight. Let him fight.
Fight. In the server, that is.
Yeah, of course. Our middle of the day shows haven't got that intense yet.
Not yet.
No boxing matches.
Who knows, they might be coming through. Maybe arm wrestling, if Laxing is on. Who would challenge him?
Fresh. We actually had an athletic competition in the green room today.
Oh, did we?
I'm not going to oust or out anybody and how well they did, but there was legitimately a vertical jump competition.
Oh, is that why the chairs are stacked up?
No, that's unrelated.
That's
just an unrelated bit of madness of who can touch the roof. Now, obviously, Lax cleared all of us.
Unsurprising.
Unsurprising.
Yep. Who came second?
Second, Stefan, Easy the Observer,
really?
did very, very well, and Fresh did very, very well.
Okay.
To no surprise, Tim and Dez could not touch the roof.
5 seconds left.
I mean, Dez is
I said I wasn't going to out or ask anything, and I just listed
you just
like
did everything anyway.
Yeah, no, not everything. There was still like 4 or 5 other people who got involved. It was started by Jesse. You know, he challenges.
Did Jesse touch the roof?
Yeah, he did. He challenges everybody to a race. Well, the reason is that he entered the room and just went, I can jump really high. Legitimately, that is how it started.
What an icebreaker.
What an icebreaker.
Coming in, I can jump really high. That's all you need to know about me.
They're looking to see if they can try and force out the players. Now, this is a map that, with the grenade change, for my money, suffered probably one of the most, if not the most. You're thinking of all these power positions where it's soft and it's instant to get it from the back. I'm not saying it's the best way to do it, but it became a consistent way of clearing out, say, behind the half wall, or over the back of the archives and service stack, or towards the sort of pocket of, you know, top from the top. There are classic grenade points that you now have to come up with plan Bs of approach. It's made things a little bit more convoluted here for the driver attackers.
I mean, a lot of them have become the skeleton key. Just opening up vertically and getting the opportunity to just take the fight one-on-one. Flashbang, want to be caught off. Second want to be tossed in. Bolo with a huge entry. Gets instantly down afterwards, though. Alton took, you know, some amount of damage. Just saw Twitch drone fire by now. 4-on-4, 90 seconds left. Still a lot of work to do here for DarkZero. Ashen finding himself inside a CCTV, basically uncontested nade. He is holding off the window just for good measure, and we also see someone holding off on the break room door, just so if he does rotate out from any other way, then just running towards the armory side of things, he is going to be caught up.
Amber, as the buck, is trying to get underneath. He wants to sneak his way up. Unfortunately, the Prox is going to make that pretty impossible. There's another pops round. There's Ashen popping up, getting knifed. The swing round and Ashen on another. Gets dropped in the trade out. However, with only NJR left, wow. I said, kind of glad he swapped off the Vigil. He's proven why. Could not find a second to breathe on Vigil. Has found multiple bodies.
Yeah.
On the Solace roll.
Of course, it allows you to help your team more as well, right? Like, Vigil's a very selfish operator, whereas Solace does help people.
We have a quick word with Mr. Vertical Leap himself, a call-in from Jesse J. Chick.
Hello, Hap and Emmy. Yes, I've come in because we've seen a lot of Border from Spacestation in the past. This is a map that they've played already twice throughout the Six Invitational against FaZe Clan and against Bliss. So we've got some data I wanted to dig in for you guys. And when we move Spacestation Gaming over to attack, the bomb site they have struggled to attack more than any other has actually been Ventilation Workshop. They've only got a 25% win rate attacking onto this bomb site. So the first thing I want to say is make sure you're watching out. If DarkZero are playing that bomb site more than usual, that may be a reason why they might be trying to capitalize on this. The second thing I want to mention is that when they were last playing this map against Team Bliss, one of the answers they tried to bring on Ventilation Workshop was putting Hot and Cold on his favorite operator, Nook. Now, he didn't really find much success. I think Hotton's one of the best Nooks in the entire game, but he tried going east stairs to fight Office. He tried going front door, never really found success, often dying without a kill. They weren't able to find any round wins. So if you see Hot and Cold on operators other than Nook for that bomb site, understand he's doing something new, and it might be catching DarkZero off guard. The third and final thing I want to leave you with before I leave is that for somebody my height, jumping that high and touching the roof is very impressive.
It was very impressive,
jump,
but
Jesse.
sat behind you is laxing.
I was upside down.
Really the MVP of our jumping competition. Thank you very much. I also see our old trio caster, but there's action going on, so I got to get back to it. Thank you, Jesse. As we find ourselves starting to echo on the side. Forest is gone. They lose the butt with NJR getting the worst, the big scrape on the back end of it. But with that gun, if he can get the first leg in a fight, he can probably silence it pretty quick. Hotton gets the drone rolling in towards Pulse, who's doing their best to survive in the little slivers of land that are offered to you in this position. But the statement is you are being watched. However, the pressure on time is not on him. He slips away. Canadian has actually escaped out of there. He's going to find himself a new home elsewhere.
Just quickly dropping off, not trying to find himself in a situation where he can no longer retreat towards the safety of his teammates, where he can actually live to fight for the remainder of that round, because there's still about 100 seconds left on the clock. It's about a minute and a half, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done by SSG here if they want to be finding themselves in a good opportunity for bathroom. Now, Hotton will be able to find Canadian. Ashton locks off Nafe as well. Suddenly, things just start swapping and changing into the hands of SSG as J90 will shut down Panda. Suddenly only Bolo and NGR, but look at NGR's HP. He's about a flashbang away from death.
And they just get that lead, and as I said, the importance of that first fight. I also talked about the importance of this drone hole. This is the nightmare of that position. You really don't have the full option of how safe you are when they know every single stat you're making on a map like this. The pings are continual, and that right above them is soft, with J90 getting the swing in case they go for the rotate for escape here. They either have to try and pull themselves back in towards it, as they do, and there's the rotate to escape. Cut off, perfectly played by SSG, all built on the back of that single drone, on that single meddling drone hold. Now, with no health and a C4, what can you do? 30 seconds. Nothing, unfortunately. SSG, 5-2.
Just slow it down a bit more, otherwise I'm wrong in my prediction on the score. 4-7 is what I thought it is. SSG definitely headed towards that position right now.
Is that again? Timeout. Timeout called here by DarkZero. And, well, best time to do it, really. There's a big difference and a big deficit between the two teams. Obviously, it's not their map, and I've already very much said... Panicking. I shouldn't type panicking.
Well, he tried to.
He tried to, but I'm not going to correct people.
Or he meant panicking. Maybe it's something we don't know.
Maybe. But when they are one round away from map point, when they're in this dangerous situation, well, you have the team talk. Last time, DarkZero had this team talk on the last map. They then came back to bring it back from the death. They were able to sort of turn the ship around, get themselves into OT, and get the map locked in. So it's all still to play for. They were closer last time. It was only a difference of about 2 rounds.
Yep.
But they had lost lots in a row.
Such a...
Oh my god, they were listening to Jesse too. Vent Workshop.
I mean, again, it's also like the best defensive side in the map currently, 62%, as I said before. So combine that together with like the struggling to attack that side specifically, basically should allow you to pick up some rounds out here. Now, as of course, there's a lot on the line. DarkZero finding themselves at the edge of map point behind. They of course want to lock this off in a 2-0. If they can prevent themselves from going to bank, then of course they would do so. There's a lot of work that they need to do though. And they need to do so on the defense. Which means that makes some good puzzles out here. They need to be solved by SSG. Make the right decisions, right moves. And starting ventilation right now, that might be a good call to come through. Houghton not playing on the Nuck. It's going to be the Gridlock to come through. That is not in line with what the Nuck normally does.
What?
I'm just saying, Nuck, a bit of a sneaky potential entry operator or like flank or lurk.
True.
Gridlock more of a flank watch, making
true.
sure that you hinder rotations.
Yeah, Nook is pocket played in position, played brilliantly on the previous map, but here, I mean, you can probably make a bit more of a statement because everything is an engagement on this map. It's very rare, really.
There's no safe space.
Yeah, especially with the changes to Nook, where she's not quite as sneaky as she once was.
Lost the sound buff, debuff. I mean, the fact that you couldn't hear the sound really when she was moving up slowly, making it easier to spot her now. 2 minutes left, and you already see some of the tracks out there just to prevent a rotation to come in from CCTV towards the armory. It's going to be cutting out that outside rotation, but it's also like one of the easiest ways to get from one side of the map to the other. Again, verticality is going to be quite important here, so we do need to see SSG find a way to get rid of the half-wall player, to get rid of the rest of the armory players. And Pamper's playing around there with the Solas is just going to be making sure that if there's any drones spotting out any use of information, it's going to be cancelled off. Good use of the impact there, going to be stopping the X-Skyros from opening up that wall. Of course, Volt has many more opportunities to do so, much more than they have impacts upstairs. I actually may not, with Bambazu being out there as well. It might just swap positions after the second impact from Nave to come through.
I was going to say, this is the sort of risk, obviously, because you want to have a clean route through. We see Fultz pops off 2 this time to bait it. It actually dedicated a lot more before. Now he does the extra step up. There's another impact, but that one hits the soft wall, so it will not stop it. They have an angle, but they do not have the rotate directly. It's enough to force it. Again, I talk about grenades, the big change on this map. The position that they're playing behind that half wall, once upon a time, would be a very quick clear. Now it's not.
There's also no Capita or something on the board, right, where you can use the incendiary bolts to dislocate the player. So really going to have to go in from below and see if you can put up some vertical pressure onto Nave, or just completely disregard it, as Houghton will find Canadian though. So that's going to be the first opener. He's playing from down below. Pemba drops as well as a C4 will find J90. So we are staying quite close in that one-man disadvantage out here, but it seems like they're looking to collapse onto the office, onto the fountain here, and as Folds just sneaks through, he takes a shotgun shell to the chest, a double swing to come in. Forrest will find one, and so does Folds. It's only up to Nafe now, and a 1-on-2 effectively, but they have the opportunity to potentially recover Forrest.
Well, not if he does this. Shoots him in the face. Big rotate. There's a player underneath, and he's able to find him, Nafe. Okay. Now we're suddenly cooking a little bit with gas, because there's only 8 seconds. They're going for the plant.
5 seconds.
Drops the hatch. They expect the motion. It's a dangerous fight, but just caught. This ain't EU.
He's not wrong.
Brexit geezer.
We're actually in Brazil right now.
Wait, hang on.
You're taking Strazer as well.
No, I mean, I never expected of the things to expect in an NA versus NA sort of grudge match beatdown. Seeing the words Brexit geezer typed in the ult chat, that threw me a little. Brexit geezer removed.
Yeah. Snape's new nickname. Brexit geezer. We're in Brazil. South America, technically,
this is North America, baby.
Bomb located by attack.
Where is border, actually, as a map?
Oh, did I do know?
Is it in Manila?
I think it is. I know it was released with the Navy SEALs, of course, of Valkyrie and Blackbeard.
Memories.
I'm going to find out.
All right, you do that.
Just because
Milos is probably somewhere fuming.
Well, he might be.
He 100% knows.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
SSG. Match point. I mean, this is the sort of deciding factor here. We knew that they could play a good border. They're showing why. They've almost kept it off the death knell. And it's not over yet. But you have to give credit to how SSG's playing this DarkZero. They haven't played a lot of this map. They let it through. But you might think that it might go back to being one of the ones removed after this showdown if they can try and wrestle their way through. We are pretty prepped and ready for a map 3 at this point. There is also obviously the conversations on the fact that these are aggressive maps, and DarkZero, again, because they've played 2 series today, because today has been a very, very long day with a lot of third maps, a lot of overtimes.
So the location says only Middle East.
Okay, so I was right with Mana in that it's also quite vague.
Yeah. And I didn't put up a specific point. So,
No.
back to the game then we go. SSG finding themselves on that map point. I mean, they have been looking very strong on this map so far. DarkZero, of course, they've had their moments, but they never really have found themselves in control. Getting the plan down 3 times, but having it shut down on an even twice. As Canadian now looking to see if there's any drones coming through. Well, he's not aware of the fact that the plant's already coming in. Now C4 will be tossed. Is actually going to be losing the shield off. Houghton's going to have to recover the other one that was out there for his protection. But that means that the nitro cell's now gone. There's still one left on the pockets of Bolo, but where is he? Well, right there. He's actually coming over right now to toss in the nitro cell to hopefully find the destruction as Nave finds one NGR on as well. And it's just the trades are coming in right now.
NJR, he stepped up. He's been able to step 2 of them down. Genano and Houghton removed from the board. And they've lost, well, the Twitch and the Oster. And when you lose an Oster in any take, you sort of lose your take, really. You're only really bringing her if it's an A take, if it's the A plan.
Attackers have
You
recovered
still have at least the shield in position, but there's no redeploying, no moving.
There's no impacts, though, so they have the opportunity, unless it is going to be Canadian playing out there, to just go for that plan. There's nothing really they can do. Of course, Bolo's still around with a nitro cell as well. I think he's actually playing inside of Archives right now, so there's a good opportunity that they can still stop this.
So that tries to remove anything from the player on that position. Now, once upon a time when you did this take, you would punch the Oster shield. So it would break That's not going to happen this time. I talked about baiting utility. It doesn't destroy the shield, and that's actually quite big here and problematic. So is this. SSG swinging around. NJR is able to keep finding bodies, but a post plant. Ashton on a triple kill. The fight is on the shield, and SSG scream back in on a second map.
That is a complete blowout, though, on this map. 7-2. DarkZero, after that close game, find themselves a map away now from being knocked down to the lower bracket after the amazing dominating run they've had earlier on. They just keep shouting.
I mean, at this point, everyone's headphones are off. You know they can hear you, and to be honest, you'd be surprised if thinking DarkZero maybe just think it's a two-mapper with how quick that one went through. However, there's still one more, and that's after a quick break.
We said we wanted a long night here in Sao Paulo, and that is exactly what we are getting. Welcome back to the playoffs here. It's the Rainbow Six Invitational, and SSG take their map pick. You can see what it means. That was border. And look, you know what? I'm here for it. We all said at the very beginning, it might go all three.
I mean,
exactly what we're
I was
getting.
going to say, me and Jesse have accepted every game that we've worked together has always gone max OT. So this is nothing new for us.
So we should thank you, really, right? It's down to you guys.
Well, give the players some credit. I think coming into this, we expected Spacestation to take their map pick. They're a very good border team, and I think we saw exactly that here today. Cleaned it up in winning both the attacking and defending halves. 7-2, dominating scoreline over DarkZero.
And again, Ashen, I mean, phenomenal performance from him. Again, the rookie from this team just coming up, making the noise in the game as well. I mean, what more can you ask from this kid?
Ashen's insane. Both in terms of being very good at the game and also
vocally insane.
The way that you see him play behind the scenes, I think it's pretty obvious there's something going on there, man. That's a little crazy, but that's what you need sometimes. I think that's exactly what
they're cranking.
wants. They're cranking. That's what they do. It's SSG, and listen, I seriously think that border is the perfect map to fit their playstyle, right? You go back to the bans from DarkZero. It was a bit of a questionable decision for us for them letting this through, but they end up coming here. They test SSG on it, and you know it's a best of 3. You don't expect to win your opponent's map pick. So for Ashen to come through, I think very much the MVP of this map on border, clean things up on defense and on attack.
Lex, you know as a former player yourself, like if you are going to step up, if you are going to pop off, it means so much more when you do it at an event like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the World Championship tournament.
Yep.
This is what really solidifies your name
legacy,
in history
baby.
books. Yeah, it creates a legacy. So to be coming in here, to be playing here in generals, I mean, it's a feat in its own, and to put up a performance with your team and yourself individually, I mean, it's the highest thing that you can possibly achieve.
Yeah, I mean, it was border, Jesse, so of course you did expect it to be pretty frag heavy.
Yeah, I mean, border's always going to be with those entry frags, right? How you can control that top floor. And I do think the pushing style was a little bit different between these two teams. You know, we saw DarkZero going relatively linear, trying to get through this top floor, trying to clear out those roamers, whether it was security, east stairs, break room, archives, whatever it was. It felt like DarkZero were watching trying to push together, whereas Spacestation Gaming adapted a more kind of European split theory, quote-unquote, style of pushing where they have their players
excited with that one.
Very separated around the map, and they did a great job of collapsing on those guys. When I watched back on the Bliss Spacestation map, they were also trying to do that against Team Bliss. They were also trying to collapse around the map, but they just weren't finding those players. They were letting them slip away, and I think they did a much better job this time of nailing down those DZ players and making sure that they weren't getting away.
And I think that's where DZ was falling short here. Is they weren't matching the aggression that SSG was bringing, so they were allowing SSG to roam around the map, come and converge onto site by hitting all angles again, where you were saying DZ was going with that linear push. Sometimes you have to adopt your other opponent's playstyle in order to counter it and get a general understanding of, okay, maybe this is what we need to do, switch it up one round or put another person in a different place. But we also talked about the power positions. I mean, Ashen, again, played a lot of those power positions, especially in E-Box, holding that down, getting the crossfires with his teammates to shut a lot of the DZ pressure.
I mean, even some of the ways that they were trying to clear parts of this map, right? We saw DarkZero trying to get below in security and open that up from the bottom floor with the buck. You're just not seeing many teams do that at this tournament anymore. That's kind of back when we had frag grenades that could go through the floors. That was a big deal, but not a lot of teams these days are going for those style of pushes. So I think kind of shows DarkZero maybe not quite up to speed on border, maybe not quite there with how they want to push on this map. But at the end of the day, again, like we're going to a map 3 and DZ, they won their pick.
Yeah, Bank is the map 3, and it's going to be interesting for lots of different reasons, including the bans, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, DarkZero have been very static with their bans, right? It's always been Dokkaebi, and I think it's basically always been a zombie. I think there's one Valk ban, but for how many games DarkZero have played through the tournament, it's insane that they've banned so few operators.
Yeah, and speaking into those bans, especially the Dokkaebi ban, since they've had a 100% success rate banning it, it makes me question, you're going against a team that you have tons of history against, they roam very heavy, you're going to get rid of an operator that does allow to give you a lot of information, clear things a little faster, depending if obviously they don't have a mute to shut down those cell phones. But for me, I want to see maybe Doke come into this, and maybe they ban a Thatcher, maybe they ban a Twitch to get rid of some cams so they don't have to worry about it in the beginning, because I think the Doke here can really shut down the SSG roam.
We saw FaZe Clan earlier on prove that, you know, fatigue isn't always necessarily a factor when you have a long play day like this. Could it be, you know, you're a former pro yourself, right?
Yeah.
Is there a chance that DarkZero could run out of gas here?
I don't think so. I think this DZ is proven, and both these teams have proven more than enough resilience throughout their careers as players individually. So no, I don't think that fatigue is setting in. I think DZ wanted to try something with allowing Border to go through and wanted to showcase something. And when else are you going to showcase it to even try to make it to main stage, right? This would be the time to do it. It didn't work out. Now you go back to your default and your fundamentals and play the DZ style that you need to be playing.
Sounds like we are teeing up a banger on Bank. It's time for Fluke and Hap to take us home.
Well, let's take it home, shall we? One more map of the day, one more engagement, and will it be as engaging as the previous one was, or as disengaged as I think either was on Border? SSG have massively normalized this prediction, this statistic. 43% from where it was going on map 2. That is a huge difference.
I mean, can you really blame them after the 7-2 victory that we just had? It's an insane turnaround coming through, and they've just looked a lot more dominant. We were headed towards Bank now, though, a map that isn't as paper-thin. It's a bit bigger, gives a good opportunity to roamers as well to really make a lasting impact on the sides and on the rounds. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Now, what we see a change in bans, as Jesse just said, might need to happen. First of all, the Ying comes in from Spacestation right back to DarkZero with their bans. And they're just BMing it in the chat. Okay, guys, duck again, bro. Yes, it's duck.
Are you kidding me? Guess what our bans are going to be? Anything.
Zami.
Zami?
Whoa.
Wait.
I've never seen Ben BM. So I think this might be the first time this game that it's Ben BM. Well, so the Valkyrie is going to be predicted, and thus we will head it towards Bank. Now, everything in line.
Rhythm, sorry.
No, that's fine. Everything in line in terms of the upper bracket here. The extra life of both these teams could be faded, as the loser will go to the lower bracket. We're going to start it off with Lockers and CCTV. Now, Lockers is a site downstairs, which is quite difficult to take. It really relies on you being able to take down the utility as early on as you can, especially those smoke canisters, as they are quite annoying. And usually there might be some Goyo canisters as well. Not the case here, but we do have yokais. And we have seen multiple different positions now where these yokais are in semi-safe environments where they can find themselves a nice angle onto the default plant spot, which is usually on the A-bomb side. You know, you take up the site wall when you come down from blue, and you just try and get the plant down in that exact same spot. So something to keep in mind. For a while, I thought we were going to see a pretty quick rush coming through from DarkZero based on the lineup, but they've changed it. No more glass, for example, so no smoke execute. Loads of hard breach gadgets. We also have the Hibana out there, so they're definitely expecting some struggle on that front.
For all they sort of say about, you do the same bands every time. To be fair, SSG, these are the same bands you did in the last map.
And I actually started BMing back DarkZero. Like, there's like Valkyrie again. Just bringing it back.
Yeah, you know. If I talk out loud about one of them, I got to mention the other now.
Expose both.
Expose both. Bank, it has that sort of similarities with a lot of different maps, actually. There's portions that can feed aggression, portions that feed great rotation that we've seen from sort of Kafe, but also there are these quick, thin engagements on Border, and there's the first. Pamba finds Forest. Torn apart, the back of hot pings and hotter guns will net results pretty consistently. You can see the swing from the Solus out. The Echo drone is trying to stun him either side. They need some support and cover. They're blind and caught by Ashton, but there's the return. Very quick pace and play there. A great attempt by Ashton to try to survive and tear them up in time, but I mean, if he'd been able to get the kill on the first swing, he could have pulled back. There was obviously the Echo drone feeding information as well, but now they've lost the Solus, lost the smoke. Yeah. You think how important that utility is late game on this site?
I'm just looking at it. It's like, especially the smoke is such an important character such an important operator to hold on to. Up until those last 30, 40 seconds when the default plan comes down, it's very powerful at just stopping them from actually making it in. Then they have to start running deeps when they expose themselves to these dangerous angles. J9, he's looking to lean back into the fight. He's coming up the staircase, going to hide inside of the elevator. A drone should be coming through to actually spot this. Now, Bolo knows about one player in the elevator down below in the actual basement. There you go. Second player now spotted out, J90. You cannot really fall back anymore as they find themselves around the main stairs already. So you're just going to be held off. Probably going to be double teamed upon as Nave able to just shut him down with a couple of shots to come through. Fultz, however, finds himself gone up towards the first floor as well to go aggressive. And a very clean take from DarkZero. I don't know why there was such...
That's it right there. Step by fucking step, we play cautious. That's it. New fucking map. Let's go. Beautiful round, boys. Beautiful.
New bleeping map.
New bleeping map. As I was going to say, I don't know why they were so active on that top floor. Of course, you want to have a roam. You want to waste some time out there. If you lose one, lose two, that's fine. But losing the smoke, though, that's a bit weird. And afterwards, you kind of saw SSG just really leaning back in towards that top floor. They really wanted to pick up something. Here's that quick technical break. Cups of water are being handed out across.
Oh God, please don't get back on the water. Please, I'm not strong enough.
Bolo just the late here. Could have saved Panda if he just was like a step further ahead. Luckily, though, plenty of heart breach gadgets out there that they had.
That shit down. Let's go. That's it right there. Step by fucking step.
I don't expect anything else from Bolo, really. You know, when he retired for the first time, he became completely unhinged.
Instantly unhinged.
Like instantly, he's like
Instantly
he's
unhinged.
off contract. Boom, nothing's stopping him anymore.
Woo. He's just getting involved in the hype. Hopefully we'll be in just a moment. I mean, you can see how intense Bolo was ready for that.
Right,
Keep the momentum going.
Getting back in, saw it out there. It's quick. Let's go, coming through.
Woo.
Ooh.
Can we get some woo
In the chat.
Attackers have discovered the location of the bomb.
DarkZero. First step is theirs. But to be fair, that was the story on Border, and then Border went the way it did. They're only able to get 2 of their total swings there. So they've got to make sure that they can try and tie some of these together, get the momentum going, swap on towards the Monty. The pick if the glass is swapped off. I was sort of waiting to see if Bolo would join the other 4 in changing the plan and the take.
So I think if you look at this, it's probably going to be like a kitchen take. Like you're going to try and get yourself top of square itself. And then when you open up the quad wall, you have the opportunity to just walk in the mountain, get it right behind the kitchen counter, beat bomb chassis, and see if you can get the plant in from there. I think that is the initial plan they have. And Pamba with the current drone is giving away a lot of information as well towards the rest of DarkZero. Called the only one that's really on the site right now. He's playing around with the M450, so 50 cal M4. It hits like a truck, but I mean, you're the only person out there. If you get caught off, there's definitely going to be some problems coming through on the side of SSG.
Well, they're all stacked up and ready to rock and roll. They've been able to get the breach, and as you said, here they go. Now, they don't want to entirely run into the trap, but they're going to force the motion. The Tubarão can slow things down a little. And look at that, Canadian sort of pushed his way in. They're going to get some support from the side in the swing, and somehow wins it out. No, Houghton goes down, but only just the Canadians' health. They tuck themselves further in. There's nothing to entirely stop them. Pamba's watching the swing as well. They don't want to get too close. They go for the retake. The swing desperately round the bottom and the back. J90 is trying to find a fight in the cover of the smoke, but a post blunt, and the Monty can redeploy that mountain shield and get themselves solidly locked in. Forrest, he's found a little bit of a route, but as they drop and bait the shield in the
Stop juggling.
I mean, Canadian is playing that risky game, and well, he gets one onto Forrest, but it's Ashton that picks it back up. He wants to deploy, but he can't. You can see the idea.
I think I just heard the replay there.
That's the scrub. And we know we're getting into here. This is a remix, to be fair, of DZ's play before. 2 times, 2 swings.
The Canadian, though, he's on...
Even Nape's involved. I picked up a little bit of English of what is it with these guys.
Canadian there, like 1 HP. And he decides to just go ADS. He's like, you know, if they shoot my feet, I'm dead. If they shoot my head, I'm also dead. But I might take one with me. And really wanted to get involved in the action there. Finds himself with a kill. And then the Castle tried to... You see here, first of all, like as soon as the amount, like around 10 bullets were fired by Hudson, because that's the thing about the 50 M4. There's only 11 bullets or 10 bullets in the magazine, one in the chamber. And they're both not watching him, so he managed to just get one free kill out of it. I mean, you gotta appreciate Ashen deciding to just go and be like, well, I'm not gonna win it on the retake, so might as well just go for the castle barricade and hope for the best in the back of that one.
Out to defuse a bomb.
But didn't really work out. Now back towards lockers. You see the hatches deploy. You see some serial laser gates on top of the hatches, which means they need to toss a piece of utility first before to open up. Could also, of course, use the Excaris on that. Just fire off 2 pellets. Of course, you lose them, but at least you can open it up right afterwards. The bigger issue, however, is going to be these electro claws. If you look at the left side of your screen, you see there's no impact EMPs, there's no normal EMPs. So what you would need is Nave on the Twitch to find those claws, take them out early, or what you would need is NGR to do it with the blowtorch to just basically bypass those claws altogether.
And the blowtorch is good enough. It was sort of the classic take, as any reinforced hats were. And yeah, Maverick dropped off a bit when you lost the grenades, and there are other options in the pocket EMPs, but still, he's found a return to force, especially with Tubarao on the board, because, well, it doesn't really matter what you do against the cold unless you have a blowtorch hot enough to burn through it. Whatever is in those canisters, the Zotos, more terrifying than smokes because it's colder than thermite, which is very hot.
Well, it's not not difficult then, right? To be colder than thermite.
Torches on!
Hatch will be opened up by the side of the smoke canister, by the gas canister from the blowtorch. There we go. I was just struggling out there. At least trying to. And it is quite difficult because there is a serial laser gate on it. It is electrified, so you cannot stand on top of the hatch or you'll be taking quite some damage. So he has to basically carefully sneak around there. And I believe they're also trying to toss in some impact grenades to keep him at bay. No, not the case. Well, what had just exploded in his face then? Either way, a minute, and you know the hatch will open up at some point. So you've at least tried to slow them down slightly. Hudson still with 1 Zoto canister left. Not quite sure where he tossed the other 2, but that's quite early on. And as the drones are trying to spot out if there's anybody coming in from the vault or if there's anybody holding the vault, it seems like it is going to be a multi-prong attack coming through here as they look to drop multiple hatches.
Look at the time, though. 45 seconds. They're trying to find the bees in the bush. As you said, the hatches are a bit of a problem, but at this point, you just got to sort of suit up and send it. They're still getting the drones, the reveal. Someone has gone for a hop out elsewhere or just a drift on the garage, but as they hit the first, it's J9 to get 1. There's Ashton with the second and the third. Swing around onto every single player which way, and DarkZero just did not have enough time. 20 seconds on the clock. That's about as long as it'll take Nafe to get close to the fight. Reinforce the wall, fair enough.
15 seconds left.
Nafe's being typed in chat.
10 seconds to go.
Help your team.
They're calling out a lot of people for like trying to play stats or exit fragging. Oh, he fights through! That's definitely a good step out to come through.
TY.
KD, question mark? Just saving out there. I mean, there's nothing much you could do at that point. Like, if you run in, you're going to die. So he's just trying to isolate the kills. But 2-1, DarkZero lose that round. And maybe a lot of time was wasted with opening up those hatches, and then they decided to go for the multi-prong approach by dropping multiple different positions, just not able to actually collectively collapse onto the site because they were losing those first initial 1v1s. And as a result, SSG just able to build on the back of that. Now, this is a site you do not often see. After the replay, that is.
Yeah, you're talking about...
I'm talking about things that people don't see yet, but I'm just going to be telling you there is a site on this map that doesn't get played often. It's played 4 times throughout the event so far. It's Tellers.
Attackers have discovered.
I like how there's a bit of a reveal there as well.
Yeah.
Built the suspense.
The reason why you don't see this often is because of the fact that, yeah, you know that thing called ceiling? It's completely destructible. There's no safe place to play. So what you have is the defenders that basically the kitchen or surface on Kafe. All around it. They're not in sight. They're just all around the site, just holding long angles, trying to fight back, trying to stop you from entering. As there's of course no direct hatch dropping into the site.
It's where the castle will play. They'll get themselves reinforced in that back line. White Stairs becomes a bit of a hold as well. You can see similarities to how long they'll try and waste time above to the play against immediate intel, waste of time. We just saw a round that was slowed by time wasting and put them in a very sticky situation. They're going to try and recreate that. However, on this site, because of how destructible parts of it is, you've got to be a lot thinner with the hold. A quick reinforcement and a pullback away from open.
Yeah, the rotation got reinforced there, so there's no way out now from the small office into the archive. So that is a late decision they've made. They've just made an adaptation, maybe based on what they saw before, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe knowing that they were going to receive a lot of pressure on the actual open area side of things. Of course, there's a Hibana, so they can open it up, but...
Yeah, but it'll slow down. There's the break onto the shield. The pixel position will be assisted by a clash. However, it's always nice to have that little bit of extra utility. Pamba, he's got his eyes already on stat rotation, so that's probably why. I think they sort of read where the push was coming from. Lock it out, waste some time. They're still in control of White, and as I said, this staircase, this main core is often the back line you'll find yourself sitting on because, yeah, you can put the pressure onto the skylight, but you have to deep throw and go in.
There's a double smoke on that side office. Maybe to open it up and not get any shots right way through.
From above, maybe they're scared someone will pop it from janitors and remove the electricity with an impact. It just sort of covers that ground a bit and keeps things going. There's Ashen trying to find some angles down below as well. But again, a minute 10, the first kill comes out into favor of Houghton underneath. This time game, this time pressure, this time waste. Nafe is looking at a clash either side of a
deal with it.
without a second to support. Not very well.
Twitch drone's going through. Houghton as well, playing down in service. Has the opportunity to... Oh no, he didn't know that Nafe was out there. Nafe just missed the opportunity to clean up the clash. Basically managed to sneak up there. Actually now with a punch roll, it's going to be shutting him down. There's going to be a double entry for the side of SSG. Canadian on the chase, and the player is down below, opening up the hatch to see if he can maybe catch him off. But Houghton reading that perfectly, waiting for it to be opened up. Knew it was probably going to be a re-swing onto the blue stairs. Fell off right afterwards. And Jarwos, he's, you know, knocking at the front door of the side is filled with a supernova. That's waiting on the other side. It doesn't last though. Gets shut down. But Canadian is chasing with that diffuser, so even though they have side control, won't be able to get anything done with it. 15 seconds, they need to start moving. Canadian, you need to get towards that site. You are crucial. You are the winning condition of this perfect site right now.
Well, there's still the clash inside. Canadian's going to see if he can try and hold the plant, but they don't have the vertical cover. There's the kill. NJR does get the clash. Gets down, but picked up on the cover. Bolo dives in, saves the man. They're able to finish them off. They could not have had a finer margin of failure or success. And now Ashen picked up a couple of kills earlier on in the round. Is between the fight, doesn't know what Booth is behind. Truly do or die, and it was done.
An incredible round to come through. They just had to go for those pushes. As long as that clash was alive, they weren't going to be able to get that plan down. Due to the verticality, pings would come through, the super shorty would open up, and they would find themselves with an opportunity to stop that from happening. Bolo with perfect cover to come through. And now a tactical timeout to be called by the side of Space Station, realizing that, well, this one in the early rounds might be slipping away from them slightly. Especially, first of all, the multi-plan they couldn't deal with. Now, this situation we just had, they had the man advantage. They had everything they needed up until they didn't. Oh, you saw it? Bolo mouse spin. Whoa! We've seen it. We've seen it. It's truly back now.
Are we back?
Are we back?
Are we back?
100% back.
I think we're 100% back. Timeout. Called by SSG. They do not like how this is going, and to be fair, after that round, neither should anyone. They had the advantage. They had the first two bodies, the first two picks, and suddenly they had to try and rebuild. They had a clash on site, and they had all the time already gone. It could not have been more pressure onto that plant, and yet it slips through your fingers. It's a bit of a tilter, but you just have to cut the momentum there. You have to try and at that point get the heads back on, get yourself spun back around and sort of say, look, we slipped up there. Let's not dwell on it. We know we can do better. They know they will do better. 3-1, DZ. A good breath of attack here. Will they be able to get the 4-2 as was done against them on the previous half once upon a time, which ultimately led them towards the map. But again, that first map, it was as close as it could be.
See DarkZero gaining some ground now, and that's the dangerous thing. Don't want to have him have that. No, said before as well, like, they're experienced enough where probably they won't run out of gas for playing a second best of 3 in a row.
I am. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day, but they're showing up huge here on the side of DarkZero. Of course, had a horrible second map, but able to just turn it around, at least for now. There's just 2 sides to the game of Siege, which means that, you know, they might be doing great now in the attack, but as soon as they swap over to the defense, they need to hold on to it as well. We're going up to the top floor. Well, I've been there for about 40, 50 seconds from now on. And that's the last time that needed to be played for this game. So we've had all 4 already, and it's only round 5. So usually pretty horizontal. You open up Kanto just so you know that the elevator position is not going to be as powerful as it otherwise is, but also so you can shut down whoever's playing behind the shield on the opposite side of the soda machine right next to stock. Not quite sure if they have opened up yet. No, they haven't. Electrification is on that wall. So it's quite difficult to deal with. Let's get rid of that utility first, but they don't have anything to do so.
The round time in terms of this first engagement in comparison to how it was for DarkZero on the previous 2 maps is a bit longer, obviously. Different maps, different play spaces, but there's a bit of success. It is starting to pick that pace up with a little bit more in their favor currently. Remember, it's off the back of the timeout. You can imagine if DarkZero get this, that it's going to be loud in that room and probably equally inside all chat. Grenades to remove the utility, just popped over the top itself. They'll see if they can try and force out the position of this player and get their angles over the top of the square. Right, round onto the back. The Tubarão isn't really in a position to entirely rebuff the breach as of yet, but they have a lot of Kairos to juggle. Capital bolts onto Janitors will be first. Bolts. Okay.
I was going to say, where does that landing on him?
A little confused. But he gets out of there with a little bit of damage. He's at least still standing.
It's like surely he's going to be burning any second now, but this is their way to deal with the side of Janitor. Janitor, very important if you want to go for a repel-in kind of push. They now know it's clear, but the big issue is going to be Ashen, who's right behind that couch, and he's going to unspot it so far. He's going to try and take a fight onto any of these repels. NGR is ready for it, though, seemingly knowing that there is someone out there. Flashbang's coming up as well. Spammers is pushing up the spiral stairs, and Execute is imminent now. 20 seconds left on the clock.
I mean, they've got it, really. And if they get caught on the swing in, well, there they are, caught right in the second of it. There's Bolo getting a pick back in, but it's instantly traded by Forest, and there he is, Ashen! Gets the drop put down, but it's the important take to make. It's certainly a 2 versus no 1 NJR, and he is in Narnia. May as well be on the previous map of Border for what he can offer here.
Why are you always baiting?
I don't know.
I think that was on purpose. I think he's just holding just in case that they manage to get that plan off, so they could just have all the complete line through. But Ashen going unspotted there, that was the crucial part. They needed a way to deal with him. And him being alive there and being able to pick up those 2 huge kills. That was crucial.
Play didn't work. Comes down to a single mistake, and those are the kind of ones that hurt IGLs more than anything, I would say, because at that point, you have to think about where things were going.
Yeah, you don't have the complete information to make the calls at that point. So,
yeah, and
not that there was time to change anything, but if they would have caught him off earlier, there might have been something that they could have done about it. Maybe, you know, send one below, get in the verticality on that side to force him out behind the couch. Anything like that. By the way, Lockers is next up again. We have gone there twice before. It was DarkZero's round. No, actually once, and then the other one went towards Spacestation. So that's what we are going to be looking at here. How or what kind of a take is it going to be? When it was the split approach coming through from the multiple hatch drops, it went completely south towards SSG.
It did.
The other approach went in favor of DarkZero, so you would assume that they are going for that other approach. However, that was a very heavy roam from the side of SSG they managed to punish, so never really got tested on the side itself.
Looks like they've sort of doubled and then tripled onto the hatches. You have the Kaid claws, but I think there's also the Azami barricades there.
No, Azami barricade.
Aruni.
I was going to say, Azami's bad.
I told you it'd been a long day.
The Surya laser gates.
Serial laser gates from Aruni.
Those are on top of the hatch as well.
On top of the hatches, exactly. I think it's just on this hatch, revealed there. So what you do is you sort of hop up on the top, wait for them to deploy it, and then fall off. It will burn at least the first set of electrics, depending on when it's done. If it stays activated, they could actually probably get in quite quick and get it removed. But Ashton seems like he wants to fight the territory anyway against Bolo, who's just eking his way closer. No, pulls off, and now as the burn comes through, the rotates will match as well. Cautious clearing of the rest of the map. And remember, the time was the sort of big problem before. There is another gate, Stereo Laser Gate, on that hatch instead. So they're ready to try and juggle hot utility on both of them. You'll see Volt sit in that position. Keepers, not the Keepers. I am losing my mind.
Suryas.
The Suryas, as soon as they move off, will come to life.
I'm not sure whether I haven't tossed anyone on this one hatch yet.
Attackers located
EMP, okay, well that works as well, but it will reactivate again afterwards. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Usually when it's just a Serial Laser Gate, toss it through. If there's also an electric claw, you're gonna have to toss it right underneath it. Oh, that's a smart way to do it.
There it is. The impact DMP and the breach charge will mean that it will get popped off. Volt pulls back towards the second one, but that looks like that's also been caught out by the EMPs of some variety because the floor itself was down too. However, they're still burning smokes quite aggressively. They're still trying to get the open. There is the open rolling through. Pamba gets the pop on the hatch. They've played a lot of focus to it, and that will come to life. Volt lying underneath it in a dangerous position. Nafe on the hot drone. 40 seconds though, and job is still in process. Forest still locked down.
Oh, he missed the first.
Oh, he's able to get the end of it. They're on the Rotero drones at that point. They're going to have to try and swing the fight, find it, but at the same second, they lose one more on the break on the hatch itself. The burn of the utility is still in process. NJR gifted Volt by a bit of a misstep there. Gold is shining bright with hot and ready to try and roll that across. They've got the smokes to try and cover the plant attempt here from Nafe. The flash is over the top, close in. It'll just take that connection. Great blind. Means he can't get the cover of Pamba, who drops. Gets taken by J9O, but the important part is the kid is down and so are they! DG! They make this one count, but a couple of these rounds and you are looking at milliseconds as the difference between failure and success.
I have to say that flashbang, beautiful though, because they weren't able to even try and respond with that nitro cell. And then GR, I mean, you don't see it, but he's tossing in the chat, did I help my team that time, guys? Question mark. He's just trying to improve himself as a player.
We got another call with the jumping man, Jesse J.
Hello, Emmy and Hap. Yes, I am back, and you can see from behind me, it's quite dark in Sao Paulo. It is indeed very late, and yet the darkness outside is nothing in comparison to the darkness in the hearts of shield mains in Rainbow Six Siege. And we have already seen one great shield play from Canadian in round number 2, pushing into Cafeteria to get the plant down. It was excellent. But in North America, there's one player who is more renowned for his shield plays than anybody else, and that is, of course, Forest. The last time that Spacestation Gaming played on Bank, it was against D+ Kia in the group stage. Forest played Shield on 3 out of the 6 rounds that they played attacking on this map. He played Monty once, Blitz once, and Osa once, who's not really a Shield, but I'm going to count it because it kind of plays like a Shield. And more impressive than maybe that is that when he played Monty, he was attacking top floor and he got a 1v3 clutch playing the Montaigne, which shouldn't be possible, but somehow he pulled it off. So I just want to prepare you that Forest is one of the best Shield players in the world, and I'm betting you anything he's going to pull it out at some point in this match. I'm not seeing it round 1, but keep an eye out because it's going to come soon and it's going to be good.
I will bet you your jacket.
Deal.
4-2. I hope it fits. We'll see. I like how if I lose this, I don't have to give him anything.
No, he didn't ask for anything.
He gets to keep his jacket.
He just has to come bring it up, you know, right before he goes back to the desk and then, you know, quickly go back down to do the final segment.
We'll
It's a
see.
good deal for you.
Great deal for me. Forest. We'll keep the eyes on there. And that was actually something I started on Border, where I loved the blitz play that was delivered, or could have been, or has been delivered on that map. They are a I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
You see him as well. You see him like shaking his I don't know.
They
And it
have
just
to.
instantly drops back. It's like, we're man advantage now. We don't need to play this anymore. Bye.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's a way to open up a round. Great way to open up a round.
Fultz is going to see if he can open back the fight. The beepers go off, so they know that there's some pressure. Forest and NJR trade bullets. There's either side lost the attention onto Fultz. Great drive back in. SSG. This was something that they did very, very well on the first map on Kafe, especially when we got a proper full run of it, is when they lose that opening engagement or when something goes wrong, they find the next gear. They don't sort of suffer. They don't step back, which has punished a lot of teams throughout this tournament. Instead, they're like, okay, they want one of ours. Fine, let's go take two of theirs. Really love that attention now. Can they try and move and manipulate some of the space behind it? They look in, and a couple of Maestro bubbles. It's going to cause some problems. You've also got the Echo drones, and I'm assuming some Goyo canisters in that position. A single player is up on the vault hatch for now, with the pings on who is on the back line, but you always assume this is watched in some manner. Ashen does have the smokes to cover it, but it's the catch of Pamba, because they don't want to waste C4s on a take that doesn't come together when the main is on the back end.
Main stairs being pushed down as well now by Ashen, so no hatch drop for him into the vault. Is going to try and stop any of the rotations back towards the actual site as the execute starts coming through. Canadian taking a bunch of damage out there. Not quite sure what that was on the back of. Oh, must have been that wall that's going to open up right next to him. It's going to be a Retiro drone that forces him out of position. He jumps over the desk and manages to just navigate himself right behind the bomb chest. They're already inside. Canadian will find Forrest though. Shuts him down. Man advantage again. Going to DarkZero's. Action comes in from the vault hatch. Elevator hatch manages to take out one. Brings it back. Bolo taking damage as well. He's crucial now as he goes down. It's only up to Canadian. A 1v3 situation. He will find one, but not the other two that were coming from the vault. And with that, SSG bring it back to 4-3.
Fantastic execute there from SSG, and that is really sort of paramount of what we've been emphasizing about this team. They are explosive, and it's a word that gets thrown around a lot in this game, in this tournament, less so as attackers have struggled, but that setup break 3-2-1 go just feels like it's said at 120 decibels. It feels so loud and so quick with such a punch. Beautiful swing, beautiful takes. They lose a couple of bodies in the chaos. However, they are more than happy and ready to clean up where others have fallen.
Let's go!
Dude, I had Case Vault, bro.
Y'all can't hear him!
Fucking retard.
As we push on towards the open area, we're still inside of that attacking favorite kind of round right now. Attacking favorite map kind of now. Numbers really starting to shift out here after we have gone from groups towards the actual playoff stage.
Moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Are we gonna see the shield play? The answer is no.
Not yet. That jacket's looking real good
Jacket's
on me.
coming towards you.
Jacket's looking real good on me.
I really hope that he, brings it up as well if it is really not going to.
I'm going to gamble so many caster jackets this event.
Just not give
Fresh.
anything in return.
Tim, if you're listening, I'm coming for your nice jackets. Stealing the Maestro bubbles, one of the funniest things to steal.
It is very funny. Oh, actually two?
Two Maestro bubbles, even funnier. Do you know what they say? They say the repetition of three is the funniest thing.
Go!
Every bubble has been stolen. I am now the maestro. Look at me.
All you really are now, NGR, is an Alba. Congratulations.
Oh, no.
You've just lost all of your utility. There's no more reason for you to be an anchor right now. You could just go and start fragging out.
Go roam with
It's time to roam.
What a disaster.
Where's
That
Mozzie
is-
when you need him to hack a Bravo drone and hack them back for you?
Okay, well, the kind of the worst utility moment I think that we've seen over the whole tournament, and the best take there from SSG. Every single Maestro bubble stolen. Good job they got updated for him to have 3 to steal now. There is...
It's so nice of them, you know?
So
give him an extra one that can be stolen by the attackers.
That was all just for Hotton. J90 gets Pamba. The mute removed. I mean, especially getting that drone through when you have a mute and a Solus. Okay, I'm not going to keep talking about how rough that was. They know.
TLDR.
TLDR. Not good. They're watching intently towards the players on the back end. As I said, the danger here is that if SSG see an opportunity, they will steal it, and that will come up here around the back of Blue.
Start stepping people now. Have they actually destroyed them with the impacts? Because there's no more impacts left on the team. So they might have just decided to use all their impacts to make sure there's going to be no more bubbles out there. As they're still trying to get some information out. They're preparing themselves for an execute. There's only 40 seconds left. Force still has the opportunity to either jump through the window or go through the doorway, as Nave will find Ashton a huge kill to come through. Canadian also seemingly aware of the fact that someone might be on the blue stairs, and as he goes into a bit more of a passive angle, it's Hotton that drops down onto Bolo.
Traded back and forth. Nave is finding heads either side, and NJR gets one before J90 gets the cover. It's a 2 versus 1. Forest inside the site with the kit, fires towards the first angle, but they're tucked onto the second. DZ retake their territory and mark it as theirs. They keep the game a little bit separated, 5-3, keep that advantage one away from getting themselves onto map point and series point, fighting across the upper bracket. SSG have used their timeout in the first half. DZ still have theirs as an option if it gets dire enough. But you can see this is starting to get very, very exhausting.
Really close there, NJR with a great kill. Canadian played this perfectly.
Do you know who NJR killed? The Bravo who stole his 3 bubbles.
You shall no longer use. Again, I don't know if they actually used their impacts to get rid of those bubbles, because if I was them, whilst I was going for the execute, I would just start zapping people. It's like just try and cause a distraction for 1 or 2 of those players. You might find yourself with just enough to actually make something happen out there. But, you know, I'm no pro player. You know, might say something very silly out there. Yeah.
10 seconds left.
I just talk about the game, you know.
Oh.
5 seconds.
We're back again in Tellers and Archive. Again, I'm not a big fan of this side.
Attackers are heading
But it doesn't
out
matter
to
what I
the
think,
bomb.
as long as these teams are comfortable on it. Last time we played it, it was SSG that actually was winning it, and it was DZ that just managed to drag it across the finish line. With that Clash still being alive, being shut down, Bolo with the huge cover to come through, and the plant again starting off at like 0 seconds left on the clock. They managed to just pull it across the finish line out there.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You think how precious those rounds are, how precious those moments were at the end of this. Obviously, this is your lifeline. This is your fight in the upper bracket, and this is the progression. We've had some inter-region matches before, and we've had some of the same fights too, and well, someone has to be that team that gets across the line, that gets 1 step closer to lifting that hammer, and obviously one of these teams has a little bit more of terms of experience, but it's something that's shared across the board.
Yeah, it wasn't on the same team. Canadian and Bolo, of course, having lifted that hammer before. Openings being made. Again, they're trying to take control of that top floor. It is important. You want to have that verticality. You've already seen the Ram just now putting up some pressure, opening up with the boogie. One of them actually got destroyed by an impact, I believe. So only 1 left in pocket now as Forrest starting to approach over that top floor. Bolo taking a bunch of damage as well, but he stays alive. Most importantly, he's being spotted behind the shield right now. Forrest just not able to find the angle. Bolo peeks out from stock, finds 1 kill. Ashton will find a response, but DarkZero still come out on top as they find themselves with a 4-3 advantage. Nave, though, going down to about 5 HP as well. 2 players are literally a shot away from dying right now, but a diffuser has been dropped outside, and that's the most important part. It's been dropped on the window, I believe it is, so we do need to see it being recovered. Forrest then jumps out, has to go for that recovery, but that takes him 20-30 seconds, so that's going to be wasting a lot of time for that diffuser to get into the right position. And in the meantime, DarkZero, they don't have to worry about that person. They can start rotating a bit more freely.
They have this man advantage. It's somehow been something that has been stolen from them on different occasions and different variations by SSG. They still have the fire to work, and they still have the drive DarkZero, they have obviously pulled back, and there is almost NJR. You look at the health across 3 of the DZ players, and they are a breath away with a grenade, with some firebolts. It won't take much, and there's Ashton in on the back of Forest getting one, but cannot get the connection. They are being so cautious. NJR, either side, huge from J90. In what is a 2 versus 1. Nafe is on the verticality. NJR's gone down underneath. I'm gonna go and get the kit. 15 seconds. Have to try and take it for the plant itself. They're playing under the hatch. They're waiting for this. A bit of a risk. The spray through. Tucked in one little spot of safety.
You know, because of the bulletproof where he is, but is there going to be enough time before he actually gets his defuse down? No, he just manages to get off. He won't find the very first, though. Walks through the Surya laser gate and almost dies in the back of it. Nafe, you just got to start the defuse right now.
Is he going to do the Shepherd move?
A single shot with the bailiff should be enough, as J90 is not quite connected. Splits it in the end anyway. SSG fend off map point. Match point going through. But that's just barely. Almost the Surya laser gate was enough to stop that.
I mean,
that must have been like he just killed someone in there, so it activates as it runs through because that body disappears.
DZ timeout, and after that round, yeah, makes sense. That should have been theirs every day of the week. That was a mistaken play, whether it was a missed call or a common where they were, where they didn't think they could get it from above. You have to give credit there to J90. Huge, 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 huge play. I mean, Jesse talked about a 1 versus 3 clutch earlier. That was as close as, though, with the player down, we'll still count it.
I think the reload of the bailiff made the difference there. I get why you do it, because if you need to go back into the fight, you want to have that shotgun in the close range. And then also you can fight up. You know that he was low. But it's like, I think if you wouldn't have reloaded, you would have had enough time to get the counter defuse. I don't know how far they are at that point.
Yeah. Based on where the kit was, I thought he was going to do a Shepherd, open a hole in the wall, and go through that way. But,
like, look, if he didn't reload, it would have been enough. It was 0.4 seconds left on the clock. That's the difference.
We are omnipotent.
We are.
We saw the rotate. We knew that it left white.
No, that's of course, like, and the thing is, you need to be able to fight back if you are forced to get off the counter defuse there. Whether it is because of the top floor being challenged, due to the amount of time left, he was like, I'm gonna stick it, because it's like, if he misses these shots, oh no, you're not gonna get jacket, Emmy.
10 seconds to
no jacket for you.
Jacket for me. Shucks. I will instead cheer myself up by a minor correction on something you said earlier. I know it was.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You said obviously when I was talking about SI winners, you said Canadian and his teammate Bolo. No, it was Fultz.
Well, Fultz on the other side.
Yeah, that was the point.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about DC because it was shared across the team. So I was like, it's multiples.
DC haven't won SI.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not with DC. Okay, never mind. I thought you were talking about the experience of winning SI, which there is, of course, experience on DarkZero, not with the organization.
I said there was some across both teams, but more.
I misunderstood.
You are so Dutch.
I'm sorry.
5-4. You know what this is? So American. Give me that American flag. Perfect time. Give me the whole fight. Give me all of this. I said at the very beginning, I want this to go all of the way. I don't care that it's late. We need a fight, we need a brawl, and this is going to be not a hatch drop. No, he steps off, but enough to get it opened up. SSG. This looks like it's going to be a little bit hot and aggressive. That's the way to play against.
Not open up. So might just be an angle to challenge from.
Okay. Well, there's the shield rolling in, and there's some attention being paid back to it. Are they just going to try and charge through the burn? On the fire canister, well, you got to get rid of that anyway. There's sort of a big statement of pressure, and if it is just the angle, it'll also stop the drop rotate behind you too. You might be able to find yourself a little bit more positioning with the shield. You wonder if Nafe is paying some keen awareness just towards the hatch. Canadian as well, the pair of them are looking at the opposite end, and suddenly all of SSG, they're just looking at the plant itself. Forest, he wants to move behind the C1D. Pam is going to be the attempt to stop him here. He's eking and edging. Is he going to charge all the way in? Probably not. He's got the kit. The smoke canister will stop him a little bit longer.
Oh, Steer Laser Gate activated again as well. Ashen is just going to be tanking that for his teammate. Force now taking some small damage from the smoke canister, but it's run out. And that means 45 could be on the clock. If that Nitro would have detonated, the cover is there from the hatch. But the kill comes in from the side of the smoke canister. But 45 counting down in favor of SSG. 3v3 right now. Can the retake be made real?
Well, they've got to push up. They cannot leave the verticality. So J9O is watching and waiting for this exact fight. Does some damage to the first. Pops the E1D and the flash as well. All precious moments wasted. There is one. Can he get the next? Yes, he can! J9O keeping the coverage at 1 versus 3 for Canadian. Blinded on the approach here towards the server stacks. He's rotating around to try and find a single fight, but at this point, out of time, he'll able to get one, but there's no defusing this game. Dropped and picked up. 5 apiece.
Going after Troy now. We're at an NGR. 5-5, and that makes this round 11 so important. Whoever is winning this next one finds themselves at map and series point. At map and series points, if you win it, brings you up on that upper bracket towards that next round. The good cover coming through here, and you know, this is the thing. When you start attacking that bottom floor, what we often see is that the utility starts getting destroyed with a minute left on the clock. That's when they start baiting out the smokes. That's when you're going to be running out of time to get that plant. But they started at like 1 minute 45.
Put it in my veins. 5 apiece. SSG, they've pulled it back. No more timeouts. All we got is the game on our hands ahead of us. Nook on the board. We talked about the style of sneak that has been played.
It's not hot.
Located by attackers.
It's not hot.
10 seconds
to be
left
fair,
before insertion.
the hottest person in this game right now,
5
on
seconds
fire
left.
is J9O. These 2 rounds, I mean, one was beyond any measure. One was highlight reel, put it on the champs, get it on the line. That as well, just the lock, the cover, the great utility play. On the rotate up, the E1D, the flash, sit back, kick your feet up. You've just bought all the time in the world. What is this they're going for? Well, the back of it on the conversation. If you miss the comms, we hear when they scream them at each other. Just swing them. They can't win them. There is a confidence in this space station right now that cannot be metered, but has to be matched by DarkZero.
That's it, and you know, basically all they would really need is just a single round right now for DarkZero, as that would push them towards at least the overtime situation. As the clutch drone is starting to make some way, Ashen are looking for some utility. Now, there's going to be no Evil Eyes this time to hack around. Actually, the Mozzie is being brought by Canadians, so they're going to try and play right into that. And with the first E1D popping, no one really moving behind that, with the Bees also going in.
Nafe surviving Bees, but they're inside on Banana and quickly knocked back out Pamba. Had to watch. There's Canadian getting Ashen on the back, and DarkZero. This time they set up those walls, set up that statement of saying no entry. Gotta reload. And it leaves players attempting to pick back up the pieces, caught in what is unwinnable. And a minute 30. There goes Nafe. They know exactly where J9O is. I mean, I'm not counting him out after the magic of the previous round. But I'm also not going to lie about his chances. They're not too great.
DarkZero completely shut down Spacestation there in that round. Everybody repelled in, got instantly shut down. There was almost no opportunity for them to just live out there, and as J9O is about to be challenged as he's headed into the server stairs. Of course, if he manages to find a fight, but Canadian's dropping off, he's rotating around. There's like, okay, have to find ourselves in a safe space. J9O left guessing, has no information whatsoever on where these players are. There's 4 drones up, so if some flanks are watched, and as he gets himself into the double door, he meets a shotgun, a trade to come through. He hits the headshot onto NJR.
Even in death, he kills.
Even in death, but the buckshot is strong.
6-5. DarkZero have stemmed the tide. However, they haven't been able to tie 2 rounds in a row since the very beginning of this map. They weren't able to do it on the middle map. So it's been a while. It's not their biggest forte in this showdown. SSG obviously know how to respond.
Locate
As NA
SSG
teams
bomb.
love to say,
Yeah,
job's not done.
job's not done.
Job's not done.
SSG looked really weak in that round, though. Like, basically, everywhere they went, they were lacking some information. It started off with the Lion being shut out from Janitor, and it wasn't like it was a clean spray. It was like tap, 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 tap by the SMG. It was enough time to respond to it. Just not aware of where it was being shot from. And afterwards, people just repelling in and dying as a result. Something that needs to be improved on SSG for this next round. This is the only opportunity they've left before they get knocked down towards the lower bracket if they lose this now. But behold, Forest is back on the blitz
5 seconds left.
for this Tellers and Archives push. Again, the top floor will be really important this time. We do not see the Ram with the boogies to come through, but we do have the Buck of Hot and Cold out there to open up some verticality, and I believe that well, no, there's actually no soft breach available for the other members left on the attacking side. So a lot of the verticality will rely on a Hot and Cold, whereas the rest is more so going to be an information game that is being played by DarkZero as Nave opens up onto Ashen. That's the Repel player taken care of. That's the IQ gone as well. And with Yokai's on the board, that is going to be a huge pickup.
First one's gone. And as I've said many times, they are great at responding usually towards losing that first body. SSG have very often found themselves getting the picks back up, getting the fight brought back against them. This time, not off with that engagement, not off with that opportunity. They've got to see if they can try and just piece something out of this DarkZero hold. They know what they've got to go up against, and I'm super curious to see if Nave shakes it against it. It's a bit of motion. The Echo Drone, he's surrounded. Pamber and Bolo get the bite right and open and sit them down before they sit at the desk. Forest, we've heard great tell of your shield work and talked about it just as much, and if there's a time to turn into an unstoppable killing force, it's now. Digs right across all the way, but cannot find it. Bolo gets one more fault. Alone in a room, watching as he tries to deposit B's at a bank, but neither go into an account. Nath, in an old chat that has been as active in this server as these players all have across a very, very long series. Fault is all that is keeping SSG in the upper bracket. 1 minute remains. DarkZero holds so stationary. They know what needs to be played. They know what needs to be done. One gets caught, and JR gone. So has a lot of time. Some intel is burnt away from them. Every single direction seems to be watched by the ever-seeing eye, and one is directly above them as well. They've pulled a pocket play off here before. They're pulling one off now! DarkZero guarantee themselves a spot on the live stage. This is a time to make some noise.
After that tactical timeout, look at Canadian, but speak up, I'll see you again. They're just shouting at one another, and then smiles, fist bumps coming through. It's like, you better come back at me out here. But those last 2 rounds after the tactical timeout that DarkZero called, absolute masterclass to come through. That round number 11, able to just overwhelm them. Round 12, the Yokai with the double swing from both those hatches. Absolutely beautiful as well. And DarkZero in the end, I think the deserved winners, even though it has come quite close.
DarkZero's day started a very long 9 hours ago, where they were able to dispatch Team Liquid in a 2-0. Now, 9 hours later, they can say they have another experienced roster pushed aside on their climb across. We are going to throw it to the desk for one last time today. Please take it away, Ian.
Laxing, I can't hear you. I can hear you. DarkZero will make the main stage. SSG drop to the lower bracket. They still, of course, have a chance. My name's Ian Chambers, alongside Laxing, and Nath joins us right now on the desk. Nath, we've known each other for time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel to know that no matter what happens now, you're going to be in front of that packed out Brazilian crowd, man?
honestly good. Last year we missed out on it just by this amount. This year we're here, so you know I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
That was, you know, an incredible back and forth performance. How do you not let all of the energy, all of the talk, everything that's going on around you affect your performance?
Well, funnily enough, we actually shared a boot camp together, so we obviously know how loud those guys are.
Yeah.
They're just talking all smack, we're spraying our bodies down. It's all good. It's all good. We don't let them into our mental. We focus on our own game, as we did. I think, yeah, they put a good fight, obviously.
Yeah.
Back and forth, but yeah, end of the day, you know, we trust our process. It worked. It paid off.
Too right. Lex.
Well, I got a question for you. Obviously, welcome to NA.
Thank you.
And with that question, what's it like teaming with DZ, going from obviously a European traditional playstyle, from M&M, and now to a team like DarkZero?
Yeah, I think the main thing, honestly, the main difference I noticed was the professionalism on that team, honestly, like the work ethic, you know, showing up on time, everyone like accountability, all that kind of stuff, you know, like we got a lot of respect for each other. Obviously, there's some big stars on that team, big names.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've came in, I've won nothing, they've won everything, you know, and like there's no ego towards me, you know, they let me come and bring my kind of stuff in, so like we integrate both kind of plays. Yeah, man, I'm loving it.
Well, I mean, you've played a pivotal part in their success so far in this this story of SI. How pleased and proud are you of your own individual performances so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
modest is what you are.
What's the word? I'll be modest.
Yeah,
Listen,
you just won. It was a long
my
series.
focus is on the next game.
Yeah.
I'll be cocky when I've got the hammer in my hand.
Oh, okay. That's a good time to be cocky, Lax, right?
That's fair. Well, I got another question. What do you feel that you bring to DZ?
I think I can help Troy, you know, with some of the calling. Like I don't think he needs to rely on him all the time. I know it's a lot of pressure if like it's just one guy calling all the time. I think strategy. I think I'm quite good at that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm just support player, flex player, you know, just doing the job, putting the job in.
You're doing everything in terms of the stats. I won't even say that you have like a set role at this point if you were just to pull up your stats without seeing, you know, who you played, because I mean, dude, you're performing phenomenally.
Thank you.
Just finally from me, you're of course surrounded by world champions, OGs in the building, and you must be soaking a lot up from them when it comes to experience, knowledge, and everything else in between, right?
Yeah, obviously, like teaming with a group full of winners just fills me with even more confidence, you know. I think that's what we're playing with right now. We've got a lot of momentum behind us. You know, after the G2 game, we reset. Liquid earlier, just like solid performance today. Like, I mean, maybe a bit rocky now, but honestly, yeah, play with those guys just fills me with confidence. Everyone around me is talented.
Yeah, and you are as well. Nif, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck with the rest of your SI journey, man. Hey, good guy to have as part of NA.
Yeah, definitely. EU imports seem to be the key to success for NA teams, so I can't argue results.
Yeah, and Jesse is back now, joining us on the desk. Jesse, what a way to close things out. It's been a phenomenal play day, and that was, you know, a series that lived up to all the hype and expectations so far, right?
Oh, that's exactly the game that SSG versus DarkZero deserved. And you know what? They're still talking. They're saying we'll see you again. I'm sure they will. These are two of North America's greatest teams. I'm hoping that they meet again at some point in this bracket. Even if they don't, I'm sure it will not be the last time they cross paths.
Jesse, I know it sounds obvious, but DZ really did prove that their style of attack works here, right?
Yeah, I think these two teams really take attacking very differently in terms of their approach. We've talked a lot about how DarkZero love to bring these operators like the Ying, like the Grim, really to disrupt the attack, to get in your face, to push you out of the room that you're trying to hold. SSG, they tried to run it with a couple different more angles. I really liked some of Spacestation's pushes. I thought their pushes onto the basement, coming from multiple directions, were really, really clean. But in the end, DarkZero winning out more of those attacking rounds. We've said it again and again and again. This SI, the team that can attack better is the team that will come out on top. And today, that was DarkZero.
Some big moments, some big performances all around, Lax, but let's talk about round 6. That Pamba one-tap was a thing of beauty.
I mean, I hope this is in slow motion, because I even took a blink real quick and was like, wait, what did, I mean, I don't, Pamba, I don't even know how he saw that. Like, well, they're doing a little team talk right now, but I mean, that one-tap was disgusting. That was absolutely nasty. I think if I got hit by that, honestly, I'm not even saying anything. I'm just, hey.
Retiring.
It happens. Yeah, literally, retiring. Retiring after that.
What do you think, SSG, going forward, they obviously drop into the lower bracket. Do you still have belief that they'll make it across the line?
Yes. I mean, SSG, they played a great game against DarkZero here today. They're going to have to play a couple more games now to make it in front of the main stage to get as far as they can. But SSG are a great team, you know, and I do think fundamentally they're going to be bringing their all to every single opponent they go up against. They battle hard. There's a reason why they hadn't lost a single map until going back to the very first playday, right, until today. They do lose 2 to DarkZero, but they'll be back.
Ashen made a lot of noise. He didn't manage to get the dub here, but he did get Intel Player of the Day. Let's take a look at his 3K. This was impressive, wasn't it?
Yes. I mean, Ashen's a wonderful player. And again, for him to be stepping up into the shoes that he's stepping in, playing on a prestigious team like Spacestation and leading to charge, it seems like majority of the time. I mean, again, for me and playing with rookies and seeing rookies come up, I love to see it. I love to just see these hungry guys coming up, showing what they're worth, putting in the effort, putting in the work, and also, like I said, boosting up everyone around them and bringing that morale.
A star performance, Ashen. I mean, I'm sure it hurts to lose, but he is one of those players that we are going to be seeing in Rainbow Six for a very long time. He's going to make a name for himself. He has already, but it's just going to get better for that kid.
And what's important, too, is losing is part of the process. That's what helps you improve as a player overall. You can't win them all. I mean, maybe sometimes you can for a little bit, but eventually you do end up losing, and you have to learn how to take that mentally, emotionally, physically. And Ashen's doing a great job at dealing with it all on all fronts.
And just before we get into the bracket, I do want to recap where we're at. Like, you know, as a former player, and you know, in all sports, right? When you're in the server, when you're on the pitch, when you're in the ring, whatever it is, you might get loud, you might get a little bit aggressive. We even saw, you know, Canadian and Ashen face to face at the end there saying, "I can't hear you." Listen, it is competitive, but these guys don't hate each other. It's all in the name of the game, right?
It's all in good fun, and it's what builds up the hype. It's what builds the excitement around it. It feels more rewarding after, you know, a team is shit talking you and you end up destroying them. I mean, plain and simple. See, right there. He knows what's good. Look, they were saying, "Hey, great game. I appreciate you. I respect you." Honestly, that was a sick play, man. GG's. Like,
I think he said, "I love you" as well. At the end
I think that's.
I heard that.
Yeah, that was it.
Look, he wanted a hug. He said, "Come give me a hug."
Yeah, they're going for a late dinner. That's what they're doing right now. Let's take a look at the bracket here at the end of Playday 1 of the playoffs. It's been a lot of fun, and we're starting to see those boxes get filled up, Jesse.
Yeah, all upper bracket action today. We saw a lot of teams play some matches. We have 4 big happy winners: FaZe Clan, Sonics, DarkZero, Virtus Pro. They advanced to the farthest of any team so far in the bracket. They all stay alive in the upper brackets. Everybody else, though, fighting in that brutal lower bracket. Tomorrow, we are sending a lot of teams home.
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel good being in that upper bracket. You made main stage. That's got to feel wonderful in that regard, especially being here in Sao Paulo, the biggest event of the year. I mean, whenever I made stage, there was no other feeling like it.
G2 in that lower bracket. Were you surprised, Jesse, after the run they've been on?
Well, as a certified European hater, I don't think I am. No, obviously I am. G2, they're a great team. Being down in the lower bracket, a lot of surprises. W7M as well.
Yeah.
The tournament favorites for the majority of people coming into the Six Invitational also knocked down to the lower bracket. It's been a difficult run. You know, we've got so many top teams at the Six Invitational who've been competing. I think the meta changes that have come in for this tournament have really upset the balance of power and have made some top teams maybe a little bit shakier on their day. And so we're seeing very, very tight competition throughout all stages of the tournament.
And that's the thing. It just goes to show you saw in Atlanta, it was one form and one meta, and then 3 months later, an entirely different meta, and you see the crashes of some teams that can't hang, and then you see the resurgence of another. Siege is a crazy place.
Yeah.
You can't get comfortable, plain and simple. If you're playing Siege, you can't be comfortable.
Jesse, Lax, it has been an absolute pleasure sharing the desk.
Me? All right.
I'm coming in for you. I'm saving you for last.
Saving me for last. All right.
Hey, listen, we're going to the gym after this, right? I need you to help me fill out this t-shirt. Listen, there are plenty more twists and turns to come on this road that is the Six Invitational in Sao Paulo. We've seen a lot, and trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. It all continues tomorrow. We'll be right here with you in the morning. See you then.
I won't.